Chapter 3241, Pirate. Based on Ma Jinhong's performance just now, it was hard to not make others look down on him. How long has your pirate been here? Shen Shang asked. He felt that it was strange that a person had entered here before, but now there was actually a large group of people and they were all very strong. Without sufficient strength, it was impossible to enter this place. Previously, it was impossible for Shen Shang to enter, and he still relied on the Violet Sun Sword. However, that group of people didn't even need the Violet Sun Sword to enter, and they could even enter the Purple Yang Divine Palace. I've been in here for a long time. I only came in later on, but because I accidentally activated the mechanism, I was trapped here. At that time, they were still outside the main entrance of the Purple Yang Divine Palace. Ma Jinhong said. In the end, I saw that they used many methods to successfully enter the Purple Yang Divine Palace, and from start to finish, they did not think of saving me. They only told me that only Violet Sun Sword could easily destroy the tiger statue. This was indeed a tragedy. With this, Shen Shang could also tell what kind of people the pirate and the rest were. If they were so heartless to their own people, then they would definitely not be good people. If you agree to sign the blood contract with me, then I will save you. Shen Shang wanted to safely enter the Purple Yang Divine Palace to search for what he needed. Saving this person was not a difficult task. If the other party was really able to sign the blood contract, then it would not be a problem for him. This could ensure his safety. Come here, I can sign the blood contract with you. The man said, and a ball of white aurora appeared above the tiger statue. This was the power of the contract. No one knew how he got it from the statue. Shen Shang walked over, put away the white aurora and poured his spirit into it. After checking the contents of the contract and making sure there were no problems, he took out the Violet Sun Sword and gently swiped at the tiger statue. Sure enough, the tiger statue was easily sliced open by him, and a golden light burst out from within, followed by a wild laugh. Ha ha, lousy came out, lousy came out. When Shen Shang heard this wild laughter, he was extremely worried, even though he had already signed the contract. Ma Jinhong was a big and sturdy man with a full beard. After he came out and laughed for a while, she suddenly came in front of Shen Shang and hurriedly kowtowed to him. She was grateful to Shen Shang while admitting his wrongs, causing Shen Shang to not know whether to laugh or cry. All right, Shen Shang laughed. Quickly get up, I'm not used to seeing you like this. Being kowtowed and expressed gratitude to such a tall and sturdy man non-stop, Shen Shang was not used to it. Big brother, if not for you, I might have been imprisoned here for the rest of my life. Ma Jinhong's face was covered in tears. It could be seen how miserable his days trapped inside. How did you get in? That purple sun is quite strong, it doesn't have any ability, but it's impossible to enter, and there's this gate. Shen Shang pointed to the main entrance of the Purple Yang Divine Palace. They can actually enter. We all spent a lot of time to make a hole, and it took us a few thousand years to do so. One of our big teams also had a few thousand people, and all of them were experts, who specialized in destroying barriers. They're very skilled in this aspect. Ma Jinhong replied, it's just right now, they are all trapped inside. After so many years, I wonder if they are still alive. Quote. Shen Shang looked at the door, and laughed, won't we know after entering? That kind of strength made Shen Shang feel that Ma Jinhong was very strong. If he were to fight with Ma Jinhong, he didn't know if she would be able to win against him. Ma Jinhong followed behind Shen Shang and asked, Big brother, where did you get the Violet Sun Sword? We didn't manage to find it at all at that time, but now that it is in your hands, what is your relationship with the Sun God race? You don't look like a person from the Sun God race, I can distinguish your presence. I got it by chance. Shen Shang responded to Ma Jinhong with a simple sentence. Ma Jinhong curled her lips and said, you can open this door now. Once the door opens, remember to store the Violet Sun Sword immediately. You have to be quick and not be discovered by the people inside. Shen Shang nodded. I understand. When he had first entered this place, he had also put away the Violet Sun Sword at the first possible moment. Shen Shang stabbed the Violet Sun Sword into the hole. After he stabbed in, there was a clang sound as the Violet Sun Sword automatically rotated a few rounds before the door opened slowly. At this time, Shen Shang was still holding on to the Violet Sun Sword's sword hilt. He tried to discover that the sword hilt was a little loose, then pulled it out and kept it hastily. This way, no one would see anyone seeing that he had the Violet Sun Sword. Alright, now you have to be careful. I haven't seen the people inside for many years. I wonder if they will recognize me. Ma Jinhong took off his shirt, only to see a golden skull tattooed on his chest, shining brightly. This is a tattoo that is unique to our pirate. When they see this tattoo, they will know that I am one of them, and at that time, you can just pretend that you are my subordinate. Don't talk too much with them, otherwise, they will suspect you. Ma Jinhong said. I got it. Shen Shang waited for the door to open bit by bit. Inside, it was pitch black. Ma Jinhong walked in first while Shen Shang followed behind. After the two of them entered, the door quickly closed with a boom, causing both Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong to abruptly shake. They did not expect the door that was just slowly opening to shut so quickly. Don't worry, you can come out anytime. Ma Jinhong was extremely cautious at the moment as she sent a sound transmission to Shen Shang. This place was completely pitch black and he couldn't see anything. Shen Shang could only carefully move forward with Ma Jinhong. There's something ahead. Ma Jinhong was also from the pirate, so he was very sensitive towards enchantments. He quickly discovered that there was something in front. When Shen Shang approached, he also noticed that there was a black barrier in front of him. As long as he entered, he would be able to enter another place. Ma Jinhong nodded to Shen Shang and said, let's go in together. Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong stepped into the black barrier at the same time. When they opened their eyes, they could already see the situation inside. It was a very spacious stone room. It should be said that this was a huge plaza. Although it was very large and tall, it was surrounded by stone walls. Someone's coming, Ma Jinhong shouted softly, her expression becoming extremely serious. He had previously told Shen Shang, the people of Pirate were not good people, so he did not trust the pirate that much. Chapter 3242, Self-Proclaimed Thief King. Shen Shang could also feel that there were a lot of people approaching him. These people were all very strong, and the pressure they emitted made it difficult for him to breathe. Very soon, this group of people appeared within their line of sight. Most of them were middle-aged with a few elders, but these elders weren't very strong. When Shen Shang saw these people, he did not have a good feeling about them. They really did look like bandits, with ferocious expressions. You are from the pirate? One of them, a middle-aged man who carried a golden machete on his shoulder, asked. Yes, my name is Ma Jinhong. When I first came here, because I accidentally touched the mechanism, I was sealed inside a stone statue. Ma Jinhong did this to help Shen Shang and allow him to safely enter this place. Otherwise, he wouldn't want to see this group of fellows again. He felt that these people could have saved him back then, but they didn't. It was just that he was worried that there would be one more person and that he would need to share more, so he did not rescue him. Thinking of this, Ma Jinhong became extremely furious, because he had been trapped in that small place for many years. Of course I have an impression of him. The middle-aged man laughed out loud and said, you must be that unlucky bastard, haha. This made Ma Jinhong even more furious. It was only because of the strength of this group of people that he did not flare up. Although he scolded people so fiercely previously, she was actually a very cowardly person, and this could be seen from the way he knelt and thanked Shen Shang. Now that I'm in Thief King, why aren't you kneeling down when you see me? The middle-aged man waved his golden machete and sneered at Ma Jinhong. Ma Jinhong said as she furrowed her brows, Thief King is the strongest among them. Kneel. The middle-aged man was furious. He suddenly attacked, bending over and used the back of his blade to sweep Ma Jinhong's knee, causing him to kneel down. Kneel, the middle-aged man said to Shen Shang in a cold voice. Shen Shang frowned. He was not one to casually kneel to others. He's my big brother. It's fine for you to insult me, but if you disrespect him, even if I die, I won't let you off. Ma Jinhong was not only kneeling down now, he was also sprawled on the ground, his head being ruthlessly stepped on by the self-proclaimed middle-aged man as Thief King. Just now, Shen Shang saw that there were 3 entrances in front of the square plaza and the 3 walls on the left and right. He did not know what those entrances were, but he was sure that they led to many places in the Purple Yang Divine Palace. He's not someone from the pirate. He doesn't need to kneel to the Thief King. When Ma Jinhong saw Thief King walk towards Shen Shang with a face filled with anger, he started to secretly worry. Seems like he has the Violet Sun Sword S. The Thief King suddenly stopped and laughed out loud. Truly, you came without any effort, haha, I finally got the Violet Sun Sword. Quote. The other pirate people were shocked, then their faces were filled with ecstasy as they quickly surrounded Shen Shang. Ma Jinhong didn't say anything, but the other party still noticed it. Don't think I'm an idiot. The Thief King said. This guy's cultivation is so low, but if he can enter here and even save you, then there's only one possibility, and that is that he has a Violet Sun sword. Ma Jinhong roared as she fiercely flew over and tightly hugged the Thief King. She roared at Shen Shang, "Big brother, hurry up and leave." Shen Shang was startled. Ma Jinhong's actions were undoubtedly courting death. Ma Jinhong's entire body expanded, the energy in her body was boiling, burning, expanding. It was obvious that she did not want to live. It made people feel that he was extremely useless. But now, in order to protect Shen Shang, he went all out to hug Thief King, releasing the energy within his body. He wanted to self-destruct, and die with Thief King. Shen Shang took out her 6 realms mirrors and released beams of intense light from it. One ray of light was a temporary seal that locked those people in place. Then, he rode her 6 realms mirrors and flew over. He took out his 9 heavens divine sword and thrust it towards Thief King's head. The Thief King roared angrily and released a wave of very strong sound waves in an attempt to stop Shen Shang from piercing over. She was currently being carried by Ma Jinhong with all his might and was unable to move at all. When Shen Shang pierced the sword, it was because of the enemy's sudden sonic boom that caused his strength to weaken. However, his 9 heavens divine sword still pierced through, piercing into one of Thief King's eye, causing him to scream in pain. "Come up." Shen Shang grabbed Ma Jinhong's arm, and used all his strength to drag Ma Jinhong up the 6 realms mirrors. At the same time, the other people who were sealed by Shen Shang had already escaped and attacked. Thief King also used all her strength to strike at Shen Shang. The protective shield Shen Zhang's 6 realms mirrors had released was very strong. Even though they had been attacked by so many powerful energies, none of them were affected. It was just that they felt uncomfortable because of the 6 realms mirrors' vibrations. Shen Shang controlled the 6 realms mirrors and quickly rushed to the one in the middle of the 3 huge doors on the left side. The 6 realms mirrors was also very fast and entered in the blink of an eye. After entering through that door, they came to another gigantic stone room. What made them curious was that Ma Jinhong did not chase after them. "Old Ma, are you all right?" Shen Shang asked. "I'm fine." Ma Jinhong regained his senses at this moment and took a deep breath. He thought that he was finished, and felt that he could only save Shen Shang at that time. "Big brother, you're so strong." Ma Jinhong's face was full of admiration, and she recognized this big brother even more. Shen Shang only smiled. "They are afraid to enter this place, probably because this is the territory of another group of people." Shen Shang looked around and said. He couldn't use spatial force here, so he needed to be more careful. "There are only 20 or so of them." Ma Jinhong said. "They have been here for so many years, they should not have been able to obtain anything, and because of this, they formed a disagreement, so they have already split up, and there should be many small groups within." Just as Shen Shang finished speaking, many swords flew over. "Get lost." Ma Jinhong was very angry, and the swords that flew over were not powerful things either. After jumping out of the 6 realms mirrors, her body trembled, and with a boom, he unleashed a violent wave of air wave, causing the flying swords that were flying over to all fall to the ground. Ma Jinhong was originally angry, but just as she escaped danger and met with another threat, it caused him to be filled with rage. Chapter 3243, One of the 9 Gates. Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong never thought that after coming to this stone room, they would actually meet such an enemy. Without saying anything, they directly attacked them. This made them very angry. "What kind of scoundrel gives in? Come out right now, I promise I won't beat you to death." Ma Jinhong roared loudly. She was no longer as useless as before, she looked very heroic. Shen Shang just found it funny. He guessed that if the person who appeared was strong, this Ma Jinhong might immediately kneel down. However, when he thought back to how Ma Jinhong had risked everything to save him, he was still moved. "Old Ma, be careful, these guys might be the Thief King's men." Shen Shang said softly. There were very few people in the previous Thief King, and there were so many people in this stone room. They were all powerful, and only the group of pirate could have such strength. Ma Jinhong obviously knew this, so he was extremely cautious. Very quickly, around 100 people appeared around them. Although they were not very strong, they were not weak either, with 2 peak of the arrogant realm S being the strongest, which was something that Ma Jinhong was unable to handle. Furthermore, there were those other people with lower or middle strength, and they were not few in number. If they joined forces to fight Ma Jinhong would definitely not be her match. When Ma Jinhong saw all these, she shivered. He never thought that the strength of the people here would be so terrifying, and that there would be so many of them at once, catching him off guard. He thought they were just a bunch of small shrimps. Of course, if he did not have the two peak of the arrogant realm he might not have to be afraid, but the two elders of the peak of the arrogant realm were brimming with killing intent that caused Ma Jinhong to be extremely worried. Shen Shang didn't have anything to be afraid of, because the Six Realms mirrors was still in his hands. Her Six Realms mirrors had a strong defensive power that could block the group's attacks for a while, giving him enough time to escape. "Are you all from the Thief King?" Shen Shang asked. "Thief King? Don't tell me you guys have grudges with the Thief King," one of the old men asked with a vigilant look on his face. "Who are you people? This is our Thousand Ancient Sects territory, you can't just casually come in. You'd better leave immediately, otherwise, don't blame us for using force." Quote. The old man pointed to a door. Once they went out, it would be a very large plaza, and there would be a very vicious Thief King. He and Ma Jinhong had just escaped from there, and they would not go back. "Who made this place yours?" Shen Shang frowned. "This is Purple Yang Divine Palace, its Sun Ancestors' territory. Just based on the fact that we came here first, we were able to arrive several tens of thousands of years earlier than you. This is our strength, so we have the qualifications to occupy this place. Quickly leave, otherwise, don't blame us for being ruthless." The old man took out a fork and pointed it at Ma Jinhong. Ma Jinhong was, after all, a strong world-defying berserk realm expert. He snorted, grabbed her fork, and said, "I am also from Pirate, and are all on the same side. Is there a need to be so heartless? The man who claims to be the Thief King outside is trying to kill us all. Isn't it too cruel for you to just throw us out like that?" Quote. Shen Shang sighed helplessly. At a time like this, Ma Jinhong actually said such a thing to the other party. Anyone could tell that this group of people were extremely heartless. "So what? It has nothing to do with us." The old man sneered. "Who asked you to offend the Thief King? There are 9 doors on the walls, and each door is a large plaza. It has long been someone else's territory, and you guys no longer have anywhere to run." The old man pushed the fork in his hand forward, causing Ma Jinhong to retreat a few steps. The middle-aged and elderly made up half of the group, and the others were all youngsters who came to watch the show. Although the weapons in their hands were all divine weapons, they were all very poor, and only the two peak of the arrogant realm elders had rather good divine tools, with a bit of myriad Dao divine soil inside. Even if there was a little myriad Dao divine soil inside, in Shen Zhang's eyes, it was still a little lacking. "Wait, do you want to know why we are being chased by the Thief King?" Shen Shang suddenly said. "Thief King does not dare to chase us, and is obviously afraid of you guys. How about this, you let the two of us stay, I will give you some things in exchange." However, if they were to fight with us, both of them would definitely suffer. When that time comes, the other people from the other 8 sects will come out together and annihilate us so that they can split their territory. Su Yun said in a low voice. The old man said, "We really don't want to provoke Thief King." The group of people thought that Shen Shang couldn't give them anything and immediately rejected him. Shen Shang took out a small box of myriad Dao divine soil and said, "If you can make us stay here, I'll give this to you." The people of Pirate all came from above myriad Dao, and were extremely familiar with treasures, so they immediately recognized what it was. Myriad Dao divine soil. The old man shouted in shock, his eyes that were half open suddenly widened, as though flames were about to spew out of his mouth as he stared at the jade case in Shen Zhang's hands. Shen Shang quickly put away the jade box and said, "How is it, are you willing?" Furthermore, this group of pirate people had been trapped here for tens of thousands of years. In order to obtain their territory, they had already used up all the myriad Dao divine soil in their possession. "All right," the old man answered very straightforwardly. "We want to sign a blood contract. If you chase us out of this area, you will suffer the backlash from the contract." Shen Shang said, "My request is not too overboard." "No, we agree." The two old men had peak of the arrogant realm as well, and in this place, their strength could be considered at the peak, so they had the power to decide. After all, Shen Zhang's box of myriad Dao divine soil wasn't small in number, it was at least 2 jin in weight. "Oh right, how many myriad Dao divine soil do you have? We need to first confirm that you won't reduce in number." The old man was also very cautious. The others watched on from the side with faces full of surprise. Myriad Dao divine soil was already a legendary existence in their eyes, and to be able to see it with their own eyes was truly unexpected. 2 jin, each of you, 1 jin. Shen Shang said. If possible, I will begin to sign the agreement right now. There were Crystal Emperor inside the Purple Yang Divine Palace, but they didn't know where they were. Right now, Shen Shang needed to stabilize so he could have a place to stay before he can go look for the treasures inside the Purple Yang Divine Palace. Chapter 3244, Wen Mansion. Not long after Shen Shang entered the Purple Yang Divine Palace, he was noticed by the Thief King. All he knew was that there were 9 big doors inside the Purple Yang Divine Palace, and that he was inside one of them. Are you sure you want to give 2 kilograms of myriad Dao Divine Soil to us? That old man evidently did not dare believe it. Not mentioning now, even in the past, there were many that could obtain 2 kilograms of myriad Dao Divine Soil from myriad Dao. Shen Shang nodded his head. I will definitely not lie to you. After all, we have to sign a blood contract. If I do not give it to you, I will definitely die from the backlash of the blood contract. The 2 old men looked at each other, nodded, and began to sign the blood contract with Shen Shang. Once they succeeded, they would be able to sign the blood contract with 2 kilograms of myriad Dao Divine Soil S. They had been trapped in the Purple Yang Divine Palace for many years, and there were no resources at all. Therefore, if they were able to obtain a little bit of the myriad Dao Divine Soil, it would be a huge improvement for them. Now they were 2 kilograms of myriad Dao Divine Soil, how could they not be moved? Very quickly, they signed a blood contract with Shen Shang, who immediately gave them the myriad Dao Divine Soil. After they had obtained the myriad Dao Divine Soil, their old face revealed a smile. Shen Zhang's myriad Dao Divine Soil was extremely important to them. With these myriad Dao Divine Soil, they would be able to obtain stronger divine tools, and if their strength was the same, then the odds of victory would be much higher. Well, now we can stay here. Ma Jinhong was a little unhappy. He felt that Shen Shang giving the myriad Dao Divine Soil to these people was equivalent to feeding a dog. Ma Jinhong knew that Shen Zhang's myriad Dao Divine Soil was a good thing, but in order to stay here, she had no choice but to take it out. This little bit of myriad Dao Divine Soil was simply nothing to Shen Shang. He still had a lot of things to take care of, so he would obviously not tell anyone about this matter. Otherwise, given the other party's greed, he would definitely think of ways to get it from him. If you have nowhere else to go, why don't you come to our residence? He was also very curious about the origins of Shen Shang and his. To think that he could actually own a myriad Dao Divine Soil and would even be hunted down by one. He guessed that Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong must have dug up the myriad Dao Divine Soil from inside the Purple Yang Divine Palace, which was why Thief King chased after them. The 2 elders had their own thoughts. They thought that Shen Shang still had the myriad Dao Divine Soil in his hands. Although there were a lot 2 kilograms of myriad Dao Divine Soil S, their greed was not enough to satisfy, unless they were certain that there were no more myriad Dao Divine Soil on Shen Shang. Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong followed them and chatted casually along the way. They were also from Pirate, but when they first came here, because they discovered the 9th door, the thousands of pirate people were split into 9 factions, and entered the 9 gates respectively. This way, as long as treasures were found inside, they would belong to that faction, and would not be able to interfere with each other. On the other hand, Thief King was the most powerful faction that had been separated from the others. Furthermore, he was certain that the Purple Yang Divine Palace's treasure was in the huge plaza in the middle of it. The 2 old men were 2 brothers. Their eldest brother was the famous Wen Yuan, and their younger brother was called Wen Jia. They were one of the 30 people from the group that had entered that day, and their peak of the arrogant realm S were considered very strong. Of course, in the following tens of thousands of years, there were quite a few people who stepped into the world-defying berserk realm. Although they were trapped here, since they could acquire the aloofness, they could still cultivate in it. During this period of time, they had asked Shen Shang where her myriad Dao Divine Soil S came from, but Shen Shang had only said very vaguely that he had casually dug them up. After arriving at the Wen Palace, Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong were arranged to rest in a room. Big brother, you gave myriad Dao Divine Soil to them just like that, what a pity. Ma Jinhong kept this matter in mind. It's fine, at least we are safe now, Shen Shang said. I don't think it's that easy. I understand pirate very well. Ma Jinhong snorted, these fellows are definitely discussing how to continue lying to us. Shen Shang did not doubt Ma Jinhong's words at all, but he had no other choice at the moment. This Purple Yang Divine Palace was extremely strange, it looked very empty, and didn't have any treasures, but Shen Shang firmly believed that there must be something inside. If only we can take out the 9 heavens divine sword. Shen Shang only thought about it, he did not dare take it out. If he was discovered, the people here would definitely treat them the way the Thief King did. Just as Shen Shang was thinking of a way to explore, there was a sudden knock on the door. After Shen Shang went to open the door, he discovered that it was actually an extremely alluring woman. Big brother Shen, there's some food here that I made personally. Try it. The lady smiled at Shen Shang charmingly, that smile was so evil that it could captivate souls. Many thanks. Shen Shang smiled and accepted it. You're welcome. The bewitching woman lightly laughed a few times before closing the door and leaving. Ma Jinhong anxiously walked over, and was about to put a snack in her mouth, but Shen Shang anxiously gave him a signal with her eyes. Be careful, Shen Shang said to Ma Jinhong. When you eat it, remember to wrap the snacks with the aloofness, don't let any damage to the snacks. We are only pretending to eat the poison inside. Shen Shang was extremely cautious, moreover, he understood poison quite well, he had seen through it with a single glance just now. That bitch, I'm going to kill her. Anger raged in Ma Jinhong's heart as he transmitted his voice to Shen Shang. Ignore her, we have important things to do. Shen Shang sighed, then sat on a chair. Not long after, the woman knocked on the door again. Shen Shang opened the door and let her in. She started to get close to Shen Shang and continued to seduce him. Shen Shang pretended to be interested in her. The woman's name was Chu Yuqing, and was in the middle stage of the world-defying berserk realm. She said that she was the #1 beauty in the Wen mansion. Hey, why aren't you eating these pastries? Is it not delicious? Is there still that much? Seeing that there were only a few missing, Chu Yuqing asked. It's very delicious, but I'm too full to eat. Ma Jinhong laughed. Since there's so much left, you should eat it. Don't waste it. Ma Jinhong took the pot of pastries and handed it over to Chu Yuqing. Shen Shang also laughed. Everyone eat together, quickly finish all of these pastries, don't waste Mrs. Effort. Shen Shang grabbed one of them and passed it to Chu Yuqing, then he also picked up the other and stuffed it into his mouth. When Chu Yuqing saw that Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong had eaten one, she felt that Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong had eaten enough. Her expression suddenly turned cold. The pastry you guys have eaten is poisonous, this poison is extremely powerful, if you cannot get the antidote, you will be in extreme pain. Chapter 3245, Poor Scheming. Shen Shang didn't know whether it was Chu Yuqing himself who poisoned her, or if someone ordered her to do so, but that wasn't important anymore. As long as they were poisoned, they would be their enemy. Ah, is this true? I'm in so much pain here. Shen Shang suddenly held his stomach, and shouted loudly. When Chu Yuqing saw it, she sneered. Brat, do you know how powerful my poison is? Haha, Chu Yuqing laughed complacently. Seeing her laughing so proudly, Shen Shang pretended to be in even more pain. Ma Jinhong reacted and copied Shen Zhang's actions in a hurry, pretending that being poisoned was painful. Kid, how many myriad Dao divine soil do you have left? As long as you give it to me, I can give you the antidote. Chu Yuqing pinched Shen Zhang's handsome face, his entire face was filled with a cold smile, and his coquettish face looked extremely ugly. I still have over 10 kilograms of myriad Dao divine soil. I'll give all of them to you. Don't kill me, I'm very afraid of death. After Shen Shang finished speaking, he pretended to be in extreme pain and screamed. 10 Jin. After Chu Yuqing heard it, she took a deep breath. If she could obtain it, she would definitely be overjoyed. Miss, who told you to do this? Shen Shang held onto his stomach, and asked. The Wen family brothers promised me, they wouldn't hurt me, why are you? It has nothing to do with those two old fellows. Chu Yuqing laughed coldly. They thought that they could defeat Boss Li by obtaining 2 kilograms of myriad Dao divine soil. They were wrong, haha, they will lose miserably. Quote. Shen Shang never thought that there would be so many schemes and scheming inside this door. He was just surprised for a moment. After all, this kind of thing happened often in fights between great forces, it was very common. Pirate had been trapped here for tens of thousands of years. At the beginning, they had tried to work together and leave, but they couldn't succeed in the end. In order to prevent their days from getting bored, they could only fight around every day to resolve the boring days. Shen Shang thought so. Bitch, do you really think we've been poisoned? Ma Jinhong fiercely jumped up, grabbed Chu Yuqing's hair and fiercely struck her on the back with her palm. I'm not poisoned. Chu Yuqing spat out blood after being hit by Ma Jinhong's palm and shouted loudly. She hurriedly struggled out of Ma Jinhong's grasp and rushed out of the door. At this moment, the Wen brothers arrived. Leader Wen, I was kind enough to make them some pastries, but they suspected that I had poisoned them and even spoke ill of them. They even wanted to, you even want to molest me. Chu Yuqing's face was aggrieved, as she sobbed. Ma Jinhong roared. Bitch, there's poison in those pastries, if my big brother didn't see through it, we would have been poisoned long ago. After he finished speaking, she realized that Chu Yuqing had taken the pot of pastries. This matter shall end here. Who can bring it up in the future? His voice was ice cold, making it hard for others to tell what he was thinking at the moment. Shen Shang was extremely calm. He watched as the Wen brothers brought Chu Yuqing away, and immediately closed the door. These fellows, Shen Shang snorted. I underestimated their tricks. Big brother, what's going on? Ma Jinhong was also confused. Could it be that there's really no poison in those pastries? Poison, of course, this is only a test. Although I had pretended to be poisoned and said that I had a myriad Dao divine soil of 10 kilograms, they will definitely believe me. Shen Shang said. Next, they definitely have other methods to deal with us, we will leave right now. The pirate inside had been bored for tens of thousands of years, they must have had all sorts of ideas to deal with him and Ma Jinhong. If they continued to stay, Shen Shang dared not guarantee that nothing would go wrong. Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong quickly walked out of the room. When they reached the entrance, the Wen brothers suddenly appeared in front of them, and there were over 100 people stopping them. What, we can't leave even if we wanted to? Ma Jinhong shouted in anger. Yes, Wen Yuan sneered. The blood contract we signed only said that we won't chase you out and hurt you. Shen Shang nodded his head. That's right, but now we have to leave the Wen mansion and stroll around casually. This place is extremely dangerous. It's best that you don't casually stroll around. Otherwise, when you die, don't blame us. The reason why we don't let you leave is also for your safety. The Wen brothers thought that although Ma Jinhong was strong, she would definitely not be able to defeat them. On the other hand, although Shen Shang had the myriad Dao divine soil, his cultivation was too low, and was not their match. Shen Shang also saw the seductive and charming Chu Yuqing. She was standing behind the Wen brothers, sneering at Shen Shang non-stop. Just as Shen Shang was about to take out the 6 realms mirrors and leave, he suddenly sensed that a large wave of aura was approaching. The Wen brothers also felt it, and their faces turned extremely unsightly. Very soon, a few dozen people arrived. These people were all burly men, and only one of them was an old man. However, this old man was also tall and sturdy. People of the Li family, what are you doing here? Wen Yuan was furious. This is our Wen mansion's territory. Get away from it. Your Wen mansion's territory is in the Wen mansion, and we haven't gone in yet, so this place can't be considered your territory. The leading old man sneered. I've come to invite these 2 friends to our Li residence. We will treat you as distinguished guests, and we will not be the slightest bit slow. Shen Shang frowned. This Li family member who suddenly appeared had this kind of attitude towards them, which surprised both him and Ma Jinhong. Bullshit, Li residence. When that bitch poisoned us, she told us with her own mouth that it was from your Li residence. Ma Jinhong shouted in anger. Brother, you shouldn't believe these words. This woman has a very high status in the Wen family. If she really was a member of our Li family, she would have been killed long ago. She was only trying to sow discord. The Li family elder laughed. Shen Shang also nodded his head. The Wen family might have been worried that they would head to the Li family in the future, thus they intentionally arranged for Chu Yuqing to make a move against them. It was just that there were some mistakes, so they did not succeed, and even made Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong be alert, which was why they were forced to stay behind. Alright, let's go to the Li residence. Shen Shang laughed. But now, it's a bit difficult, they won't let us leave. Quote. The Li family's old man laughed. If they don't want you to leave, then we will destroy the Wen family today. No matter what, we will destroy the Wen family and let you out. Seeing the old man's resolute attitude, the Wen brothers were secretly surprised. Although Shen Shang still had a little myriad Dao divine soil on him, he definitely would not let the Li residents take action against them. I'll let you go. The Li residence is the poorest one here. They don't have anything in their mansion. You guys only know how to drink from the northwest wind. Be careful of your myriad Dao divine soil. After that, he let Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong walk out of the Wen palace. Chapter 3246, Li Ba. When Chu Yuqing saw Shen Shang passing by, she sneered. Shen Shang, you have offended the Thief King, and now you have offended us. Do you know that the Li residence is also against the Thief King? You better be careful, at that time Thief King might even let us attack you. Quote. Shen Shang didn't even look at her, nor did he say anything. He only smiled and walked out of the Wind Palace with Ma Jinhong. This made Chu Yuqing extremely angry. She thought that he was a beauty, but Shen Shang was not interested in her at all. So is the Wen Mansion. After Ma Jinhong walked out of the Wen Mansion's main entrance, she sneered, "You all don't know how powerful my big brother is, he's not afraid of some Thief King." Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong had already arrived beside the old man from the Li family. The people from the Li family were very friendly, although they did not know if he was putting on an act, but at least they gave Shen Shang a good impression of him. He thought that there would only be one Wen family here, but he never thought that there would be several Wen family clans here, yet the Wen family actually wanted to chase Shen Shang out. This was not a place where the Wen family could decide. "My two friends, please." The Li family's old man was extremely polite. Just as they were about to leave, there was a sudden cry from the sky and a very large bird suddenly swooped down. Chu Yuqing looked at the giant bird and shouted, "This is a member of our Wen family, do not take action." She was worried that the Lin family would treat this giant bird as a demonic beast. The men from the Li family did not attack nor did they take it seriously. They only raised their heads and looked around before walking down their own path. "Don't let them leave," cried the man on the bird in the air, and from his tone it seemed very important. Just as he finished, the Wen brothers rushed forward and brought the Wen family and encircled Shen Shang and the Li family members, not allowing them to leave. Shen Shang frowned, he did not know why he suddenly did not let them leave. "What are you doing?" the elder from the Li family said angrily, "Don't tell me you want us to stay as well." The Wen brothers did not know why they were staying, but it was because the giant rider had gone out to search for information and was definitely investigating something related to Shen Shang. "That brat has Violet Sun's sword S on him, don't let him go." The man riding the giant bird shouted, "Thief King has allied with many families, prepare to enter and capture that brat." Shen Shang was shocked, he anxiously took out her 6 realms mirrors and rode on it with Ma Jinhong. He did not expect the matter to be exposed so quickly. Shen Shang had the Violet Sun sword on his body, but this made everyone in the Wen family shocked, especially Chu Yuqing. He felt regret in her heart. If she was a little closer to Shen Shang, maybe Shen Shang would tell her about this matter, and if they found the Violet Sun sword, they would be able to find the hidden treasury, which was something that they couldn't find in tens of thousands of years. The old man from the Li family shouted angrily, "He's already a friend of our Li family. If you want to make him stay, then don't blame our Li family for being impolite." Shen Shang possessed the Violet Sun sword, and Violet Sun sword were crucial to finding the treasures within the Purple Yang Divine Palace. Most importantly, they were able to bring them out of this damned place. "Don't fight with them, let's go," the old man from the Li clan said to Shen Shang, who nodded and flew in a certain direction with the men from the Li clan following closely behind. The Wen family's people did not know what to do. Their strength was about the same as the Li family's. If they fought, both of them would definitely suffer. They did not have the confidence to defeat the Li family, and when the time came, Thief King would bring his men in, and they would be laughed at. Just like this, while the Wen family was still in a dilemma, the Li family had already left with Shen Shang. "It's all you're doing," Wen Yuan said angrily. "This guy is very mysterious to begin with. He doesn't know how to control the flow of water in such a hurry to make a move. Look at the situation now, the Li family got lucky." Chu Yuqing gritted her teeth and scolded, "Who knows how cunning this brat is? What do we do now? What should we do? Of course I'm going to the Thief King. If I ally with the Thief King, maybe we will even get some soup." Wen Yuan grunted. Shen Shang and the Li family members kept their distance from the Wen family as fast as possible. The old man from the Li family was the patriarch of the Li family, his name was Li Ba. He looked very straightforward, giving off a very heroic vibe, making people not at all wary of him. However, Shen Shang had already experienced this before, so he was still very cautious. The Li residence was indeed very poor. The place was small, and there weren't many people. It seemed to be very weak. "This is our Li residence. Although it is a bit shabby, our Li family members are not as despicable and treacherous as those bastards of the Wen family." Li Ba laughed. "The two of you, if you are tired, you can go rest first, we can discuss business tomorrow." "I'm not tired," Shen Shang said. "Elder Li, is there something urgent that you need to tell me?" Li Ba nodded, he waved her hand and let the people who were watching the show return. He wanted to take Shen Shang to discuss some matters. Shen Shang brought Ma Jinhong to a very quiet stone room. Little brother, if you don't believe me, I can sign a blood contract with you here first. I promise that I won't do anything that would let you down. What Li Ba wanted to say was very, very important, and he needed Shen Zhang's trust to do it. Good. Even though the Wen family had signed a blood contract with me, they still set me up in the end. At that time, it was only the two of them who promised not to hurt me. Shen Shang said. So now I have to be a bit more cautious, after all, I have already experienced this before. That's understandable. Li Ba nodded, and then signed a blood contract with Shen Shang, allowing him to feel at ease. I, Li Ba, had also entered with the pirate back then. It's just that at that time, I was still a relatively weak old man. Li Ba said, I've met this brother Ma before. Ma Jinhong scratched her head and laughed, but I don't have any effect on you anymore. Li Ba laughed out loud, because at that time, I was still just a nobody. There were so many people in Pirate, it's normal that we didn't know each other. It was only after you triggered a mechanism that I had a bit of an impression of you. Quote, Elder Li, your Li clan seems to be slightly different from others. Shen Shang said. This feeling was very clear. From the moment he entered the Li residence, he could feel that the atmosphere was different from the others. This is just for the juniors to live better when they go out in the future. In these tens of thousands of years, I have seen through the essence of our pirate, and even we ourselves hate the pirate. So, I do not wish for the Li residents to become a person that we hate. That's right, I don't want to be a part of the pirate anymore, F*C King detestable. When Ma Jinhong talked about her own pirate, he was filled with anger. Let's get down to business. Li Ba laughed, her expression suddenly becoming serious again. Little brother, can you let me see the Violet Sun Sword? Chapter 3247, Shrine Level 2. Shen Shang had already signed the blood contract with Li Ba previously, so he didn't need to worry that Li Ba would attack him now. The Violet Sun Sword's entire body was purple, and when it was injected into the aloofness, it would emit waves of purple light. When Shen Shang took it out, he only needed to take a glance to confirm that this was a Violet Sun Sword. This must be the real Violet Sun Sword, otherwise Big Bro wouldn't be able to save me. Ma Jinhong laughed. Yes. This is a real Violet Sun Sword. Li Ba took the Violet Sun Sword from Shen Shang. Although he held it in his hand, she could feel that this Violet Sun Sword did not have any spiritual energy, and was trying to struggle free from his hand. It was obvious that this sword did not approve of him, which was why it became like this in his hand. Li Ba immediately gave the Violet Sun Sword back to Shen Shang. Elder Li, what exactly happened? Shen Shang urged. When you entered the main hall, you should have already seen the huge plaza. That place was occupied by the Thief King. Li Ba said. As for the rest of the clans, we will enter the other 9 gates. Shen Shang nodded his head. Yes, I saw it. Back then, I also ran to the door closest to me, and it was this place. The place we are at right now is the first floor of the Purple Yang Divine Palace. For many years, we have been unable to break through this floor and have been unable to find a way up. Li Ba said. There are many times that we have teamed up together to try and break the stone walls, but we have no way of doing so. It is simply too sturdy. The stone walls are even surrounded by the power of the barrier. Then how can I get there? Shen Shang frowned and asked. I already have the Violet Sun Sword. I know that the Violet Sun Sword is the key to Purple Yang Divine Palace, but I don't know if I need to do this. I feel that there might be a hidden door here that can only be opened by using Violet Sun Sword. Ma Jinhong said. Li Ba shook her head. I have searched for many years and have never seen such a door before, but I know how to use the 9 Heavens Divine Sword. How do I use it? Shen Shang asked. Li Ba raised a stone tablet on the ground and said, over the years, I have carved out a very deep tunnel here, and there are some special areas down there. Ma Jinhong was extremely doubtful, and asked, shouldn't it be up there? We are going to the 2nd floor, and we are actually going to the underground. Quote. Li Ba shook her head. The barrier here is much stronger than the one on the wall above. No matter how I look at it, it seems to be protecting something powerful, so I think if we want to reach the 2nd floor, we have to go underground. Shen Shang did not ask any more, and followed Li Ba down. It was deep down, and it took them a moment to get there. Little brother, try it. Li Ba held a glowing stone in her hand, illuminating the ground. Shen Shang squatted down to look at the ground. It was a green-colored stone board, and the material was extremely sturdy. What is this? It looks strong, and furthermore, there are so many spirit grain up there. Shen Shang said in shock. Yes, in short, all of my divine tools were damaged, but I was unable to leave any traces on them. I feel that they were refined by the myriad Tao divine soil, and there is even a layer of protective barrier energy on them. Li Ba said. Little brother, I'm not begging you to give us anything when the time comes. I only hope that you can bring our Li family out of this damned place. Many of the Li family's little fellows yearn for the outside world. Shen Shang nodded his head. That's not a problem, I'm taking the things inside, I want to go out too. At that time, I can just take you guys everywhere. Boom. An earthquake suddenly came from above, and there were violent tremors deep underground where they were. Not good, it's most likely the Thief King attacking. Li Ba's expression became serious. I'll go up and see, you think of a way to open a path here, we need to leave this place quickly, we are definitely not a match for Thief King and the rest. Li Ba anxiously ran forward, Shen Shang held onto his violet sun sword tightly. Brother, how about we try stabbing it into the ground? Ma Jinhong said. He held the violet sun sword and stabbed it into the ground. He originally thought that it would be extremely difficult to stab it in, but he didn't expect that with just a light touch, the violet sun sword would enter the stone floor and the stone floor even started to emit light. Not long after, the stone ground started to ripple like water, causing Ma Jinhong to shout loudly. It moved, Ma Jinhong shouted in shock. Little brother, how is it? Li Ba, who was at the top, asked. Success, you can come down now. Shen Shang said. At this time, the huge green stone board below them had already become a shining green liquid. Both Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong were suspended in the air. After Li Ba came down, he was also floating. Violet Sun Sword is really useful. Li Ba sighed. She had tried many different methods before, but none of them could cause any changes to the stone floor. Currently, Shen Shang had only used the Violet Sun Sword to do it casually. I wonder what's below us. Ma Jinhong said. I'll go down and take a look first. After I get down, I'll see if I can come up later. Ma Jinhong's courage suddenly increased, and he immediately jumped down. Shen Shang and Li Ba waited at the top. The Thief King and the rest are here? Shen Shang asked. Yes, this guy actually teamed up with so many clans. It's clear that he isn't confident in his own strength. This way, they will be absolutely safe. Li Ba said. Big brother, you guys can come down now. This is really another place. Ma Jinhong's voice came out from below. Shen Shang immediately jumped down. After he went down, he discovered that he had landed in a magnificent hall. It was here that he had the feeling of being a purple Yang divine palace. After that, Li Ba brought some people down. There were only around 100 of them in the Li family, and more than half of them were youths. Ma Jinhong looked up, and anxiously said, Big brother, that wound is still there, can't be sealed. Shen Shang looked to the top of the hall, there was indeed a green floating place, that big piece was extremely obvious, he anxiously jumped up, and used his violet sun sword to stir it a few times, but to no avail. Whatever, we have to leave as soon as possible. Shen Shang released a few hundred sky-devouring rats to scout the surroundings. There is a big door there. It might be the entrance to the purple Yang divine palace. Li Ba pointed to the side of the hall. The door was very big, it looked like a big door. All right, Shen Shang anxiously walked over, I'll try. If you really can leave, you all better leave this place as soon as possible. Thief King and the rest should be able to find this entrance soon. Chapter 3248, Hot Chests. Shen Shang came to the front of the door and saw a hole. He inserted the Violet Sun Sword into the door and a purple aurora appeared from the purple door. Shen Shang controlled one of the sky-devouring rats to go out. After the sky-devouring rat went out, he saw a large forest, but there was only one sun in the sky. It was obvious that the sky-devouring rat was not the sun, because there were several suns in the Eternity Archaeopterygium. What is that place? Shen Shang was sure that it was not the Divine Desolation, but he was able to recognize the aura of the Divine Desolation. What a strong aloofness, could it be a world above myriad Tao? Shen Zhang's heart trembled, then he told Li Ba what he discovered. After leaving, you won't be able to enter anymore. Sky-devouring rat who was released by Shen Shang could no longer enter at this moment, and Shen Shang only maintained contact with the sky-devouring rat through the power of space. If it's a world above myriad Tao, then that's not bad. Our pirate lived inside it before. Li Ba said, and then began to send people through the door. All of the Li family's people left quickly, leaving only Li Ba here. Elder Li, you're not leaving, Shen Shang said. They have returned to the Myriad Dao and need you very much. You cannot leave them behind. No, they can take care of themselves. Li Ba laughed. I owe you a favor now, I'll go with you guys, don't worry, I don't need anything. Li Ba felt that Shen Shang and Ma Jinhong's abilities were limited. If he stayed, maybe he could help them. Alright, Shen Shang had already found a door, and anxiously walked over. He did not need any Violet Sun Sword to open it. Just as they entered the door, a large group of people appeared. Thief King and the others had come. Shen Shang had left a few sky-devouring rats behind, so he could also immediately see Thief King and the others coming here. The gate should be the one that leaves this place, and the small gate is the one that leads to the treasure trove. Let's chase after it. The Thief King quickly found the small door, opened it and chased after it. At this moment, more than 10,000 people had already arrived at the Great Hall. Some chose to leave, while only a few experts wanted to continue searching for the location of the treasure. They were trapped here for tens of thousands of years, and now that they finally made some progress, they definitely would not give up. So, they had to continue their search and find the treasure. After Shen Shang and the rest entered the door, they wildly ran through a tunnel. After reaching the end, they were blocked by a stone door, and there was a hole in the door. Shen Shang easily opened the door once he stabbed the Violet Sun Sword in. After they entered, they hurriedly closed the stone door. This stone door can't stop them for too long. Li Ba said. The experts from the various great clans in Pirate are all clan-breaking experts. Shen Shang firmly believed in this, otherwise the pirate would not have been able to enter the Purple Yang Divine Palace without the help of the Violet Sun Sword. What is this place? Ma Jinhong looked around. There was only a single chest here. Shen Shang took his Violet Sun Sword and walked over, with Ma Jinhong and Ma Jinhong following behind him. When they approached the light golden chest, a flash suddenly surrounded them. A relatively large light barrier appeared, enveloping them within. This is a barrier. Li Ba was very good at this as well. Moreover, it's very strong. If you didn't have the Violet Sun Sword, as long as we got close, we might have been attacked. There were no gaps in the light golden chest. There was no lid to be seen, nor were there any holes. Ma Jinhong wanted to pick up the box, but as soon as his hands touched the box, he shouted loudly, and at the same time, a charred smell floated out. His hands had already turned into charcoal. Shen Shang anxiously used some medicinal liquid to spray it, allowing Ma Jinhong's hands to gradually recover. How deadly! Ma Jinhong really couldn't think of how to heat such a box up to the point that a layer of skin fell off his hands. Who asked you to be so anxious? I originally wanted to let Mouse Man give it a try. Shen Shang laughed. Just as Shen Shang was about to use his Violet Sun Sword to hack the golden chest, the stone door suddenly rumbled and was violently destroyed by someone. The first person who rushed in was Thief King, and his face was covered in blood, while the people behind him were in a sorry state. Charge! When he saw the chest, he knew that there were a lot of treasures inside. However, just as he was about to rush over, he was flung away by the faint golden light barrier. They didn't have any Violet Sun Sword S, so all the traps were activated. On the way, Shen Shang and the rest all carried Violet Sun Sword S, so the three of them were completely fine. Haha, you bunch of scum, all of you are just acting like dogs. Ma Jinhong laughed. What Thief King, in my opinion, it's just bullshit. Ma Jinhong hated this group of people to the core. Back then, this group of people only watched and didn't do anything, so Ma Jinhong had always kept this in mind. Aren't those the two old bastards from the Wen family? Oh, I've become an old black egg, haha. Furthermore, that little bitch called Chu Yuqing, she was already very ugly, now that she's been burned to a crisp, I saw her almost puking at the supper. Ma Jinhong did not care about his life as he scolded the group of people, causing them to become even more furious and started to smash the barrier. Shen Shang did not care about all that at the moment, he had to quickly open the box and take the things inside. No way! Shen Shang used his Violet Sun Sword to hack at the chest, only to be blown away by a strong force. Even Violet Sun Sword can't do it. Li Ba carefully looked at the chest, and said, try to see if the Violet Sun Sword can release a type of flame that can envelop the entire chest, and then cut open the chest. I'll try. Shen Shang took a deep breath, and poured a large amount of aloofness into the Violet Sun Sword. Then, he saw the Violet Sun Sword suddenly flash out a fierce purple flame, which wrapped around the sword body. Shen Shang immediately used his sword to cut open the upper layer. He wanted to cut out a hole. After the people outside saw this, they began to fight even more crazily. Although they were very strong, they were all absorbed by the enchantment. No, the energy consumption is huge, come help me. Shen Shang used up all the aloofness in his body in a short while. Ma Jinhong and Li Ba hurried over and pressed their hands on Shen Zhang's back, pouring their aloofness into his body, allowing Shen Shang to use the unique purple flame inside the violet sun sword to cut open the chest. You bastards, those treasures are mine. Thief King knew that the contents of the chest were definitely very precious. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to protect themselves so well, but right now, they could only look on helplessly. Chapter 3249, Deities Templar Treasures. Seeing how angry Thief King was, no one dared to say anything in their hearts. What they were worried about was, if Thief King obtained those things, they might not get some of it. They did not trust Thief King very much, especially now that they saw her attitude. They knew very well who the Thief King was. Since a long time ago, they already knew who the Thief King was, but at that time, when the Thief King came to look for them, they did not have any other methods. If they did not cooperate with the Thief King, they would definitely be trapped here for the rest of their lives, so even if they did not get anything, they would still accept it. At this time, Shen Shang was still doing his best to use the violet sun sword to cut the treasure chest. When he used the violet sun sword to ignite the flames, the consumption was extremely huge, and this consumption was not something that he could handle alone. Not only Li Ba and Ma Jinhong were sending the aloofness to him, even Feng Ke and the Mei Jing sisters were secretly providing the aloofness to Shen Shang. How much longer? Li Ba asked. I don't know, maybe half a day. Shen Shang was also extremely anxious at this time. He never thought that such a thing would actually be so difficult to destroy. He hastily took out the Nine Heavens Divine Sword. The Nine Heavens Divine Sword had already been refined using a crystal emperor and looked sharper than the Violet Sun Sword, but it was still unable to cut open the box. This box has the power of a barrier. Only by using Violet Sun Sword can you cut it open. Li Ba already saw that Shen Zhang's sword had a crystal emperor component, but she did not know how many. No wonder, Shen Shang could only continue to use the Nine Heavens Divine Sword to cut it up. The Thief King and the rest who were watching from the outside were all discussing how to break the barrier. Right now, they were not too far away from Shen Shang, but the barrier was too powerful. Even if they combined their powers to continuously attack it, they could not damage it in the slightest. Instead, the barrier was still absorbing the energy they had released to maintain its activation. Half a day is a bit too long, right? Ma Jinhong frowned. I'm worried that these fellows outside will join hands and break it apart. We'll be in trouble then. Don't worry, this barrier should be able to hold on for a long period of time. They definitely won't be able to break through it within a short period of time. Li Ba was extremely familiar with these enchantments. He could tell when she first came in. Shen Shang was currently focusing on cutting the box with his Violet Sun Sword. This box had a layer of extremely strong defensive energy, and the material itself wasn't that strong. It was only made with the materials from myriad Dao Divine Soil. The strongest part was the spirit grain carved on the box. How did this box come about? It actually has such a strong defensive power. Shen Shang was very curious about this. It should be refined by the Sun Ancestor, and only he has such strength. Li Ba said. The spirit grain used by Sun Ancestor are all the strongest, and there might be a powerful energy contained within. Very quickly, half a day had passed and the top layer of the chest was about to be cut open. In this half day, Thief King and the others had never stopped attacking the barrier, but under their constant attacks, the barrier had become a lot weaker. Before, the barrier could completely absorb the energy from an attack, but now, only half of it had been absorbed. The rest could attack the barrier and cause an explosion, causing the barrier to almost dissipate. When everyone saw that it was effective, they attacked even more fiercely, especially the Thief King. He fought with his life on the line. He wanted to get the thing inside the box, the Violet Sun Sword that was already in Shen Zhang's hands. He had entered the Purple Yang Divine Palace for the sake of the treasures here. They had all been here for many years, and after exploring for tens of thousands of years, they still did not discover anything, nor did they obtain anything good. However, Shen Shang had just entered this place, and found this box so quickly. We can't let him obtain it. Our pirate has been here for tens of thousands of years and we haven't found anything. Now that we've finally found a treasure, how can we hand it over to someone else? The Thief King roared. The upper layer of the chest was about to be cut off. Ru. Shen Shang and the rest were inside the barrier. They could clearly hear the loud noise. It was not there before, but it was clear that the barrier had already been exhausted to a certain extent, and if Thief King and the rest were to continue attacking, it would not take them long to break through the barrier, and at that time, Shen Shang and the rest would be captured. Although the strength of the three of them were not bad, but when facing Thief King and the rest, they were still lacking too much. Moreover, Shen Shang cannot use the power of space here. Don't hold back, we have to make the best use of our time to succeed. Li Ba moved what she said, and then she crazily transferred her own aloofness to Shen Shang, allowing Shen Shang to release even more violent fire of Violet Sun Sword. After Ma Jinhong saw it, she also did the same, and started to channel the aloofness into Shen Zhang's body without caring about his life. After Shen Shang sensed their aloofness, he immediately controlled it and entered the Divine Sword. If not for Li Ba and Ma Jinhong's help, he would not have been able to progress so fast, and with her and Mei Jing's sister's aloofness, he could not hold on for long. Clang! The box was cut open by Shen Shang, and after that, the entire box suddenly cracked open, and released a burst of crisp sounds. The light golden box was broken into pieces. Inside, there were a lot of light golden stones which looked like gold bars stacked on top of each other. There were a total of 3 stacks, with 5 pieces stacked on top of each other. It's the Crystal Emperor. Thief King bellowed, her eyes completely red. Shen Shang was also shocked. There were 15 Crystal Emperors in the chest. Everyone in Pirate knew how precious Crystal Emperor were. If these 15 Crystal Emperor were to appear in front of them, it would definitely cause a storm of blood and gore. Shen Shang hurriedly stored the Crystal Emperor and then took it out. Come up, Shen Shang said to Ma Jinhong and Li Ba. Ma Jinhong and Li Ba had also been shocked by the Crystal Emperor's. Shen Shang had already obtained the most precious treasures of the Violet Sun Sword, and Ma Jinhong and Li Ba were happy for Shen Shang. However, what they were worried about now was how to leave this place. After they had boarded the 6 realms mirrors, Shen Shang looked at the barrier that was about to explode. You all, hurry and get the Crystal Emperor out. Quote. Shen Shang, you will die a horrible death. The Crystal Emperor is ours. Hurry up and call out, or else I'll tear you into 10,000 pieces. The group of pirate people outside were enraged when they saw that Shen Shang had taken the Crystal Emperor away. They could only curse at Shen Shang continuously, but they knew that it was useless. Shen Shang looked up at it, then flew up. Using the Violet Sun Sword to stab in, the stone board suddenly floated up, like a green light screen. Shen Shang immediately rode the 6 realms mirrors and rushed up. Chapter 3250, by Mansion Crisis. After rushing up, they arrived at the Golden Hall. Let's separate here. There was a door at the side of the hall. After entering, he would be able to go up to the Myriad Dao, and Shen Shang did not plan to go there yet. This is for you. Shen Shang took out 2 Crystal Emperors and handed them over to Ma Jinhong and Li Ba. Ma Jinhong and Li Ba were both stunned, but when Ma Jinhong reacted, she immediately rejected them. She did not dare to accept such a precious thing, since Shen Shang had saved him and he had not repaid Shen Shang yet. Li Ba didn't want it either. The reason was the same as Ma Jinhong. Shen Shang had helped them before, but they had not repaid his debt to him. Now that Shen Shang had given them such a precious thing, they felt extremely sorry. I don't want it. Take it yourself, Li Ba said as he rushed towards the door. Wait, Shen Shang immediately pulled him back and gave him a few pieces of Myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystals. Initially, Li Ba did not know what they were, but by the time he had reacted to it, Shen Shang had already gone over to Ma Jinhong's side and gave him a few pieces of Myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystals. Alright, I'm leaving. Shen Shang did not lack Myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystals, so giving them some wasn't a big deal. Li Ba wanted to reject, but Shen Shang had already returned to the huge, empty plaza on the first floor. He needed to go back the way he came before he could return to Eternity Archaeopterygium. Thief King and the others had already broken through the barrier and chased after him, but they were all heading towards the Myriad Dao, so they did not know that Shen Shang was from there. Shen Shang very smoothly returned to the Eternity Archaeopterygium, and returned there. Forbidden Land of the Divine Earth was extremely calm, but this kind of calmness made Shen Shang feel extremely suppressed. Spirit of Divine Altar, I'm back. Shen Shang grinned and said, come over here these past few days, how have you been? Shen Zhang's Violet Sun Sword was stolen from the Super Yang Divine Lord. If the Super Yang Divine Lord knew that she was cheated, she would definitely go crazy. Right now, he was investigating who did it. But as far as I know, the Super Young Divine Lord has already prepared to attack this place. He already knows that I have recovered, so his fire slave came here to investigate. Spirit of Divine Altar said, "What about you? Is Purple Yang Divine Palace successful?" Quote. It went smoothly. Shen Shang took out a bag and opened it. There were 15 Crystal Emperor inside. So many. When Chen Kai saw this, her eyeballs almost fell out. Indeed, Spirit of Divine Altar also exclaimed out loud. How much do you want? Before, Spirit of Divine Altar had said that if SSHE wanted to suppress Super Young Divine Lord, he needed more Crystal Emperor. I need another 5, the Spirit of Divine Altar said. If it's the kind that you refine, then it needs 9 pieces. The Crystal Emperor that you have now are all quite big. I think 5 should be enough. Quote. Alright, Shen Shang took out 5 Crystal Emperors and placed them on the ground. Then, he looked at Chen Kai and smiled. Without waiting for Chen Kai's reply, he directly gave his a piece of Crystal Emperor. Chen Kai had been forging since the beginning, and he herself also wished to have her own super powerful divine tool. And the best case scenario was that it had been made using a Crystal Emperor. Although he had already helped Shen Shang refine a few divine tools using the Crystal Emperor, they were all her own and he did not have her own. Many thanks. These weapons were all refined using the myriad Tao divine soil crystals, so they were all extremely powerful. If they were used to fight with others, they would definitely have a huge advantage. If Divine Soil Race had been able to make good use of this Sun God forest that they controlled back then, they wouldn't have been sealed here by the Heaven Old Divine Race. The injured Super Young Divine Lord is currently not very strong, you don't have to worry too much about him. The Spirit of Divine Altar said, maybe some of the Sun God races are stronger than them. Yes, Chen Kai nodded her head. According to my inherited memories, the fierce fighting god is extremely terrifying, especially those that have been nurtured. Really? Shen Shang had seen the fierce fighting god before. There was one in the Bai family. Although it was powerful, it was not as powerful as the ones described by the Spirit of Divine Altar and Chen Kai. However, these genius war goddess will usually go to the myriad Tao. The stage there is much bigger and the resources are much richer because in the Eternity Archaeopterygium, there are very few myriad Tao divine soil s. The Spirit of Divine Altar said. Isn't that enough? Not a bit. Shen Shang looked at the ground and laughed. There were indeed many myriad Tao divine soil here, the entire Sun God forest. But they couldn't get it. If they wanted to get the myriad Tao divine soil from here, they would have to pay a huge price, and in the end, they might even lose their lives. They knew this clearly, that's why they chose to search for it above the myriad Tao. Spirit of Divine Altar said, but now, if they knew that there are Crystal Emperor here, it is very possible that they would come. With the Crystal Emperor in Shen Zhang's possession, he naturally could not understand his mood. In the eyes of others, the myriad Tao divine soil was extremely precious, but Shen Shang simply looked down upon it. Even the myriad Tao divine soil crystal was only barely enough to catch his eye. I'll go to Bai family to take a look. Shen Shang said, that sword blood from Bai family is very strong. If she can grow, it will be of great help to us in the future. Give her a piece of Crystal Emperor and let her cultivate his own destiny sword. The Spirit of Divine Altar said, there is a rather powerful place in the sword race. They have a kind of inherent skill, which allows them to use some special methods to refine a very powerful divine sword inside their body. If they have good materials, the destiny sword that they can condense would not be any worse than the ones refined by a master blacksmith. Shen Shang did not think too much about what her Crystal Emperor was going to do with it. He was sure that he was not lacking in Crystal Emperors right now, so giving Bai Shuilin a piece would not be a big deal. The enchantment enveloping the Bai mansion released a pale white aurora s. Looking from afar, it looked like it had been covered by a layer of light. Did someone else attack the Bai mansion? Shen Shang frowned. He did not dare go near the Bai mansion at the moment, and carefully observed his surroundings to see if there was anyone outside. Very quickly, he saw that many people were there. Amongst them were people from the Lan family. From their blue robes, they were obvious, and the rest were from the Archaeopterygium. Their clothes were easy to recognize. The Archaeopterygium was a very powerful sun god race, and now, they had actually joined forces with the Lan family to besiege the Bai family. Shen Shang took out the 6 realms mirrors and sent a sound transmission to Bai Ziming. Brother Bai, what's the situation now? Shen Shang asked. Big trouble. After Bai Ziming heard Shen Zhang's voice, he anxiously said. Shui Lan is already severely injured, and the enchantment of our Bai mansion is also continuously consuming the energy of the formation base. Once it is exhausted, they will attack. Chapter 3251, Genius War God. Bai Shuilan was actually injured, which surprised him a lot. Right now, he did not know how to enter the Bai family, unless the Bai family could remove the enchantment, but people outside would immediately attack and enter. What the hell is going on? Did Super Yang Divine Lord find you guys? Shen Shang was very worried. The Super Yang Divine Lord had already taken in a lot of fire slaves. Those fire slave warriors had gathered experts from various big families, and they had all seen Bai Shuilan bringing them away to Shen Shang. No, Super Yang Divine Lord is already dead. Bai Ziming said. I'm also surprised, but this is true. The Super Yang Divine Lord was actually dead. Shen Shang found it hard to believe. Back then, the reason the Super Yang Divine Lord was sealed in the sun was because the Super Yang Divine Lord was unable to kill him. But now, Bai Ziming was telling Shen Shang that the Super Yang Divine Lord was dead. What the hell is going on? Shen Shang was confused. Super Yang Divine Lord was killed, and who was it that killed them? The Super Yang Divine Lord was exterminated by the three fierce fighting goddess. Bai Ziming took a deep breath and continued, these three fierce fighting goddess are from the myriad Taoess. I don't understand why these guys are so powerful, and why they are clearly just in the late stages of world-defying berserk realm. Previously, Shen Shang had heard about the existence of the genius war god from Chen Kai and the spirit of divine altar. At that time, he did not believe it was true, but now that Bai Ziming had said it, he could not help but take it seriously. Now they surrounded the Bai mansion. Shen Shang asked. Yes, but only two. One is from Lan family, the other is from Archaeopterygium. Bai Ziming said. They are extremely strong. And Shui Lan was injured by them. Quote. They bully the young with their numbers. Shen Shang knew Bai Shuilan's strength. No, genius war god are extremely arrogant, they would not do such a thing, so they did not attack Shui Lan, but chose to fight alone. Bai Ziming said. Then why did they join together to kill the Super Yang Divine Lord? Shen Shang said. Super Yang Divine Lord was not attacked by them, they fought alone against him, and fought by turns, and the Super Yang Divine Lord herself was very conceited. In the end, she was killed, and I do not understand the specifics, but in short, these fierce fighting goddess have a very powerful cultivation technique, which allowed them to have even more power. Bai Ziming said. How is Shui Lan now? Shen Shang originally came to deliver the Crystal Emperor to Bai Shuilan, but he didn't think that such a thing would actually happen. Fortunately, her recovery speed was extremely fast. Shui Lan is not weak either. It's just that her combat experience is too little. Bai Ziming said. If she had more time, she would have been as strong as those fierce fighting goddess. Shen Shang was a little relieved, at least his injuries weren't too serious right now. Shen Shang, don't act recklessly for now. Wait until Shui Lan wakes up, then I'll find a chance to open the barrier and let you in. Bai Ziming said. Shen Shang did not listen to him, but flew over. At this time, he was using the counter power and he was even using all his strength to conceal himself. He just wanted to see if the genius war god would be able to discover him. Shen Shang, be careful. These guys are all very scary. Feng Ka said. At this time, she could already feel the threatening aura from the outside. Of course I know, they are people who can exterminate the Super Yang Divine Lord. Shen Shang was clear that these fierce fighting goddess were all here because they wanted to obtain Bai Shuilan's sword blood, and at the same time, wanted to interrogate the Bai family about the things related to the myriad Dao divine soil. When Shen Shang got close, he was discovered by a golden-robed man. The man raised his head and looked at the sky, his eyes suddenly shooting out two beams of fire towards Shen Shang, but was avoided by Shen Shang. Someone is up there. It's a very clever concealment technique. The other blue-robed man's eyes flashed with electricity. He laughed coldly. This person's concealment is not bad. I almost did not notice, but his strength is only average. Shen Shang had already appeared. He had teleported to the entrance of the Bai mansion, and directly used his own appearance to face the people in front of him. Shen Shang, that's the Dan spirit he obtained from the heavenly Dan Manor Lord. A middle-aged man from Archaeopterygium said. What is your relationship with the Bai family? The Archaeopterygium asked with a cold voice. Shen Shang could clearly see these two genius war goddess, they were both very young, their auras were also different from others. Bai Ziming and I are friends. Shen Shang said. I wonder what grudges you have with Bai family. Is there a need to surround Bai family like that? Quote. The Bai family has people from the sword blood, and the sword blood are enemies with us. In order to get rid of future troubles, we have come here to do what we should. Lan family said very straightforwardly, do you think what I've done is right? It doesn't make sense. Shen Shang shook his head. This is mainly because your Lan family has been bullying your Bai family for so many years, and now that your Bai family has the chance to rise to prominence, that's why you're afraid. It's your fault in the first place. Yes, it is our fault, but we can only do it again and again, otherwise, when the sword blood becomes stronger, our Lan family will be destroyed. Lan family of the Lan family sneered. This world is a world where the strong preys on the weak. You should also be able to see it clearly. In that case, does that mean the Bai family does not have any more chances? Shen Shang paced back and forth a few steps. At this moment, he appeared to be extremely calm. Once the Bai family's barrier disappears, there should not be any chances left. The blue-clothed man laughed. Do you think you can save Bai family? I think I can, that's why I'm here. Shen Shang also laughed. Oh, are you very strong? Now it seems that you can only save Bai family by defeating us. Lan family's fierce fighting god was very strong. Even though she was a bit arrogant, no one felt that he was very arrogant because he had the qualifications to be so arrogant in the first place. Now that Shen Shang had finally experienced the power of these genius war god, although he did not fight with them, their auras gave off a very oppressive feeling. The big doors of the Bai mansion had already opened. Bai Ziming stood there, and when he saw that Shen Shang had already appeared, he could not help but shake his head. Brother Bai, don't do anything. Just watch from there. Shen Shang was worried that Bai Ziming would suddenly remove the enchantment. Shen Shang, quickly leave. Our Bai family still has some strength. Bai Ziming didn't want Shen Shang to face two genius war god alone, since other than those genius war goddess, the other two families' experts were also present. I have my own plans. Shen Shang didn't say much to Bai Ziming as he was already prepared to fight around with these genius war god. Chapter 3252, Sky Origin Divine Sword. Bai Ziming was also not clear about Shen Zhang's current plans, but he could guess that Shen Shang would most likely fight with these fierce fighting goddess. This was the worst-case scenario. In order to let Shen Shang have a better chance of winning, he sent a sound transmission to Shen Shang, telling him about the two genius war goddess. The Lan family's name is Lan Kunyuan, and to be able to head to the Myriad Dao at such a young age, he used a lightning aloofness. Although it is only at the middle stage of the world-defying Berserk realm, all of the fused awesome world Berserk soul come from the third floor of the Aoshi Soul River. Bai Ziming said. Because it is based on the powerful world-defying Berserk soul, even though he is only at the middle stage of the world-defying Berserk realm, his strength is extremely terrifying. The Archaeopterygium's fierce fighting god's name is Hong Chenny. This guy is a lot younger than Lan Kunyuan, and is also at the middle stage of the world-defying Berserk realm. His two awesome world Berserk soul are a lot stronger than Lan Kunyuan's, and one of them is a Berserker soul art that she obtained from the fourth floor of the Aoshi Soul River. The Aoshi Soul River only had a third floor. Shen Shang never thought that there would actually be a fourth floor. Hong Qianyi's golden robes suddenly flickered, releasing a burst of tyrannical qi. The moment the qi appeared, the people behind him immediately retreated, because Hong Chenny was preparing to attack. Lan Kunyuan also retreated. His strength was a bit weaker than Hong Qianyi's, so if Hong Chenny wanted to make a move now, he would naturally not do so. The atmosphere immediately became extremely tense. Hong Chenny stared at Shen Shang and said, since you want to help Bai family, then that would be our obstruction. Don't blame me. Wait, Shen Shang suddenly shouted. If you kill me just like that, you won't get anything. How about this? We will fight a fair battle. If I can defeat one of you, you two are not allowed to attack Bai family for the next year. On what basis? Lan Kunyuan laughed coldly. If I am defeated, I will naturally leave this place. Furthermore, all of you will be able to obtain one of these. Shen Shang knew that if he did not take out something, the other party would not be moved. After Shen Shang took out a piece of Myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystal, both Hong Chenny and Lan Kunyuan's expression slightly changed. This was a Myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystal, they could recognize it, and such a thing had always been a legendary existence. But now, Shen Shang could take it out. Alright, I promise you. Hong Chenny agreed very quickly. They had fought so hard for the sake of the Myriad Dao Divine Soil, but there was the Myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystal in front of them. As long as he defeated Shen Shang, he would be able to obtain the Myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystal. I can't beat you, Shen Shang continued. It's impossible for me to defeat you now. But I can compete with Lan Kunyuan. Quote. No way, Hong Chenny anxiously shouted. The myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystal is mine. Don't worry, if Lan Kunyuan can defeat me, you can also obtain the myriad Dao Divine Soil's crystal. Shen Shang took out another piece of myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystal and laughed. If it was only you and me fighting, Lan Kunyuan would definitely not be satisfied. Hong Chenny looked at Lan Kunyuan, who nodded to him. Alright, as long as I defeat you, it will be alright. Lan Kunyuan was still very confident. Yes, and we have to sign a blood contract. Shen Shang said. I only believe in this, it will benefit both of us. Hong Chenny felt that Shen Shang was not very strong, he would definitely be able to defeat him, and he only needed to watch from the side. Once Lan Kunyuan defeated Shen Shang, he would also be able to obtain a piece of myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystal, it would be a piece of cake. No, what if you die during the battle? Hong Chenny said. For a battle like this, if we cannot fight with our bare hands, then there is simply no meaning. I will give the myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystal to Bai Ziming. If I die, I will give it to you. Of course, if I really die, you all cannot attack the Bai family within a year. Shen Shang said. No problem, Hong Chenny agreed, but Lan Kunyuan didn't have any objections. Shen Shang handed 2 myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystals over to Bai Ziming. At the moment, Bai Ziming's heart was a little heavy. If Shen Shang died, he would definitely feel very guilty. Although those people who came with Lan Kunyuan and Hong Chenny remained silent, they were extremely jealous in their hearts, cursing silently in their hearts. These old fellows had difficulty getting even a little bit of myriad Dao Divine Soil, but the 2 young men in front of them, Lan Kunyuan, could easily get the myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystal. Although their hearts were unbalanced, they did not dare to say it out loud. They were unclear about the strength of Hong Chenny and his group. After the blood contract was signed, Shen Shang was much more at ease. Shen Shang, why not just give them the myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystals and let them leave? Bai Ziming sent a sound transmission to Shen Shang. If you fight with them, you will be injured. If I can beat Lan Kunyuan, then I don't need to give the myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystals. You need to be clear, if the myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystals were to fall into their hands, it would be extremely disadvantageous for us. Shen Shang had a lot of myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystals. Unless he had no other choice, he would definitely not give the myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystals to his enemy. Now that he was faced with such a situation, he could only use this method. He wasn't sure if he could win, but he would try his best to fight. Lan Kunyuan said, let's fight outside. The Bai family has a barrier protecting him, you do not need to worry that it will be damaged during the battle. It was already a mess outside. Had fought with them here before, so he did not have any objections. Alright, let's fight here. Shen Shang asked, can I use the divine equipment? Of course you can. Lan Kunyuan definitely had to use divine tools. As for people like them, every type of divine tool was a part of their strength, and if they couldn't use them, it would be like losing the right and left arm. Lan Kunyuan guessed that Shen Shang had a good divine tool, since he could take out 2 pieces of myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystals, but he was not worried because he was strong in the first place. Even if the opponent had a good divine tool, he could still break through. Being able to use the divine tool made Shen Shang feel relieved. He was worried that the other party would go back on his words, so he said, then let's begin. Lan Kunyuan took out a black long sword. This black sword was very thick and full of materials, one could tell that it was refined using a lot of myriad Dao Divine Soil S, no wonder Lan Kunyuan insisted on using his divine weapon. This is Lan Kunyuan's Sky Origin Divine Sword, which he used a total of 50 kilograms of myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystals to refine it. It's said that more than 10 peak of the Arrogant Realm S died from his Sky Origin Divine Sword. Bai Ziming said. A total of 18 experts died under my sword. Even the Super Yang Divine Lord who was in front of me was stabbed through the head by my sword and destroyed my soul. Lan Kunyuan's voice was filled with cold arrogance. Chapter 3253, Battle-Crazed Sword Force. Lan Kunyuan held the Sky Origin Divine Sword tightly in his hand. It looked black, but after he injected it into the aloofness, the body of the sword suddenly flashed. A blue electric light exploded out, like a scene where there were dense black clouds flashing. What was even more terrifying was that the sword was trembling non-stop, as though it was roaring crazily. Waves of violent wind blew out continuously, causing Shen Shang to almost take a few steps back. Just this sword was filled with a threatening and wild aura, as if it contained an extremely powerful madness soul, causing people to feel fear. Coming to Eternity Archaeopterygium, this was actually the first time Shen Xiang had met someone who made him feel fear from the bottom of his heart. Although they hadn't started fighting yet, the opponent's tyrannical battle intent already made him feel fear. He gritted his teeth, trying his best to restrain the fear in his heart. Otherwise, he would lose without fighting. If he had such fear when the battle began, he would not have been able to defeat his opponent. Seeing the fear on Shen Zhang's face, Lan Kunyuan just smiled faintly. He knew that this kind of situation happened way too often. He was now even more sure that Shen Xiang was not his match, and had never met such a terrifying person like him. Very strong, Feng Ka exclaimed. Are you confident? These genius war god are worthy of being able to kill Super Yang Divine Lord. I'm sure I can beat him. Shen Xiang took a deep breath. A purple light flashed in his palm and a purple sword suddenly appeared. As everyone looked at the Violet Sun sword in a daze, their hearts were filled with shock. They all knew of this Violet Sun sword. The Violet Sun sword descended from the sky before, but that place was occupied by the Super Yang Divine Lord. However, later on, that Violet Sun sword was stolen, and the Super Yang Divine Lord was angry at that time, so she searched everywhere for the Violet Sun sword. Everyone never thought that the Violet Sun sword was actually in Shen Zhang's hands. I'm not surprised. Although Lan Kunyuan saw the Violet Sun sword in Shen Zhang's hands, he still maintained his composure. With your concealment skills, it's really too easy to obtain this sword. Shen Xiang did not speak. It was not easy for him to obtain the sword. Even though he could easily enter the bonfire, it was very difficult for him to pull out the Violet Sun sword. Violet Sun sword, this is a legendary sword. If this sword were to be destroyed in my hands, it would be my honor. Lan Kunyuan's eyes were filled with blazing light. It seemed like destroying the sword would be even more exciting than obtaining the myriad Dao Divine Soil Crystal. I won't let you destroy this sword. Shen Xiang was currently under a lot of pressure, and everyone realized that the fear on his face had already disappeared. He had already overcome the terrifying sword intent of the Sky Origin Divine Sword. Then, let me see how you protect this sword. When Lan Kunyuan finished speaking, he fiercely swung out his Sky Origin Divine Sword, and as he was waving his sword, the air above Bai Mansion was shrouded by lightning that was frantically dancing. The instant Lan Kunyuan brandished his sword, a majestic sword aura whistled out. The streaks of wildly dancing lightning were like the incarnation of countless lightning dragons, and the aura behind Lan Kunyuan was even more like a monstrous wolf formed from lightning and violent winds. As Lan Kunyuan brandished his sword, wind and clouds surged, lightning surged up to the skies, lightning struck down in all directions, and Shen Xiang, who was standing in front of Lan Kunyuan, instantly sweated profusely. The fear that had just been suppressed in his heart suddenly surged up. At this moment, he only felt as if he was standing in front of a giant wolf that was 100,000 feet tall. Shen Xiang looked at the arrogant expression on Lan Kunyuan's face. His arrogant eyes sparked with lightning, his imposing manner looked down at the world. Is this the genius war god? This kind of berserk aura seemed to be born. This berserk aura was able to increase his power by several times. This is the terror of fierce fighting god. Quote. The Sky Origin Divine Sword had already slashed down, slashing towards the stunned Shen Xiang. At the same time, Shen Xiang clearly felt death approaching. The feeling of death was so cold, so despairing, so heartless, it wanted to rob him of everything. In the instant of his death, a lot of things flashed past Shen Zhang's mind. His father, his wife, his friends, as well as the various beauties in the 100 Flowers village that made him feel extremely warm. We can't die. The impact of the complex emotions before death was like a bucket of ice-cold water that watered Shen Xiang awake, pulling him back from the abyss of fear. The might of that sword strike was extremely terrifying, as it directly slashed towards Shen Zhang's head. In that extremely short period of time, the Shen Xiang whose face was filled with terror, as if he had suddenly awakened from a nightmare, he fiercely waved the Violet Sun sword in his hands, blocking the lightning-heavy sword strike. Boom! A huge sound rang out in all directions, and even the ground around them was shattered by the shockwaves and sound produced by the clash of the two swords. The entire ground actually sank a few dozen feet into the ground. Hong Chenyi was the closest to the battlefield, and he flew out with a face full of shock. He couldn't believe that Shen Xiang had actually reacted in that instant, and had even blocked Lan Kunyuan's terrifying strike. What made Hong Chenny felt the most incredulous was that the burning aura Shen Shang emitted when he brandished his sword was the wildfire sword force, and he and Lan Kunyuan had already experienced this kind of sword force before, that Bai Shuilin could also release this kind of sword force to fight. A sword blood. Lan Kunyuan took a few steps back, his face was full of shock. You actually are a member of the sword blood S, however, you are not the sun god race. Could it be that it is because of Bai Shuilin that you were able to obtain the sword blood's inheritance? Quote. Bai Ziming, who was inside the Bai mansion, was also extremely surprised. He never thought that Shen Shang would actually have sword blood S, although he had seen Shen Shang use a strong sword technique before, but he did not think that Shen Shang was able to use a flame technique, because he knew how to use a strong flame technique. Something like that. Shen Shang was only able to match up to the other party because he had activated the frenzy sword method in a moment of desperation. If Shen Shang had grasped frenzy sword method, and if he was actually a sword blood, Lan Kunyuan would need to be even more vigilant. That's right, I just fought with Bai Shuilin a while ago, but it's not fun, so it's fine. Shen Shang smiled and said. Lan Kunyuan laughed out loud. The battle-mad soul inside his body continued to release the force of the battle, which was able to raise the aloofness in his body. Chapter 3254, Destroying the Sword. Shen Shang was no longer afraid of the other party, and the sword blood in his body started to boil. Although he was not a fierce fighting god, his sword blood was still very strong, and could make up for the gap between Lan Kunyuan and himself. To Shen Shang, Lan Kunyuan was a ranker who was much stronger than him, but challenging this kind of ranker made him very excited. This allowed him to accumulate even more combat experience. Lan Kunyuan brandished his sword again, and the world was once again shaken by his sword force as he howled. A thick layer of black clouds appeared in the sky, forming a gigantic lightning web. This time, Lan Kunyuan rushed towards Shen Shang, and at the same time, he thrusted the Sky Origin Divine Sword in his hand, making it seem as if he had become one with the Sky Origin Divine Sword, and the Sky Origin Divine Sword also transformed into a ray of lightning that shot towards Shen Shang. Lightning, man, and sword fused together at that instant, especially that tyrannical lightning energy. After it appeared, the lightning and thunder that had been violently clashing in the sky suddenly stopped. This power was even stronger than before, but it couldn't scare Shen Shang. I'm no longer afraid of you. Shen Shang dodged it with a teleportation. However, the space around him was still not stable enough, because the power of Lan Kunyuan's sword was simply too terrifying. HMPH, you won't be able to run away. Anger raged in Lan Kunyuan's heart, and once again transformed into lightning as he charged towards Shen Shang. When Lan Kunyuan rushed towards Shen Shang, his strength had increased yet again. Currently, there was not a single good spot around Bai Mansion, as it had been destroyed by the berserk chi waves. Humph! Shen Shang let out a cold snort, and a pale golden mirror suddenly appeared in front of his chest. It's the Six Realms mirrors. The reflection of the Six Realms mirrors had the ability to reflect its power, and it was not only reflecting power, it also increased the strength that was reflected back by several times. Although Lan Kunyuan saw Shen Shang take out something to block his chest, he could not recognize that it was made from Crystal Emperor S, and he did not know how strong the Six Realms mirrors was. At the same time, he himself did not think much of it, because he had seen too many people use things to block their attacks. It was useless for him, because his strength was the strongest and nothing could stop him. Everyone present smiled when they saw Shen Shang take out something that looked like a shield out. They all believed that Shen Shang was dead for sure, and they were very clear on Lan Kunyuan's strength. With the might of his sword, Lan Kunyuan's sword would definitely break apart that pale golden shield, and directly break through Shen Zhang's chest, turning him into meat paste. Ru. Lan Kunyuan's Sky Origin Divine Sword had already pierced the surface of the Six Realms mirrors' mirror, and immediately exploded with a loud sound. Shen Shang was sent flying, and Lan Kunyuan was also sent flying. The continuous vibrations came from different things. The greatest of them all was the explosion of the Sky Origin Divine Sword. In the instant of the explosion just now, countless strands of electricity had shot out. No one could clearly see what had happened in the middle of the explosion. Moreover, that wild and violent aura had enveloped everything. The Sky Origin Divine Sword exploded. The first one he discovered was Hong Chenny. His face was filled with disbelief, but it was true that a fragment of the Sky Origin Divine Sword had fallen to the ground. He opened his eyes wide and looked at Shen Shang, who had already put away the Six Realms mirrors. After Shen Shang was sent flying, he was also injured, but it was not as serious as Lan Kunyuan's injury. At the moment, Lan Kunyuan no longer had the divine sword and his body had many cracks. After Shen Shang quickly stabilized his injuries, he anxiously teleported over, and when the people of Lan family saw this, they all flew out towards Lan Kunyuan, wanting to stop him. However, Shen Shang was the one who teleported the fastest. He instantly arrived beside Lan Kunyuan and slashed at him with the violet sun sword in his hand. Countless gigantic fire dragons came surging out from the violet sun sword. The fire dragon formed from the sun madness fire fiercely rushed towards Lan Kunyuan and poured into his body. With a boom, it burnt Lan Kunyuan's body into ashes. I won. Shen Shang took a deep breath and shouted. He was still injured. Shen Shang actually killed a genius war god that was much stronger than him. It was unbelievable. I will destroy you. Just as he was about to make his move, the enchantment around Bai Mansion was suddenly put away, and over 10 middle-aged men and elders rushed out, and Bai Ziming also ran out. According to the blood contract Shen Shang had signed with Hong Chenny and the others, as long as Shen Shang won, Hong Chenny wouldn't be able to make a move against the Bai Mansion for a year. Let's go. With an indescribable rage, he brought the people from the Archaeopterygium and left. Since the Lan family didn't have Lan Kunyuan here, and they didn't have a fierce fighting god on their side, they would definitely be unable to take down the Bai family. Furthermore, the Bai family still had the fierce fighting god. Your Bai Mansion is waiting. Our Lan family will definitely exterminate you. An old man from the Lan family said angrily. She then picked up a fragment of the Sky Origin divine sword and left in a rage. After seeing them leave, Shen Shang and Bai Ziming hurriedly returned to the Bai Mansion to open the great formation of the Bai Mansion. It was really thrilling, but it was not dangerous. After Shen Shang entered, he let out a long sigh, and revealed a slight smile. In the end, the myriad Dao divine soil crystals did not fall into their hands. Shen Shang, you are really powerful. Such a powerful genius war god like that was actually killed by Shen Shang just like that. How could I be powerful? If I didn't rely on my divine artifact, I probably would have died. Shen Shang laughed at himself. The fact that you have such a powerful god equipment is also a part of your strength. Bai Ziming thought so. Those powerful divine tools didn't fall from the sky. They were obtained through your means. Shen Shang had used a lot of Crystal Emperor-S on the Six Realms mirrors, and they had even been refined jointly by the spirit of Divine Altar and Chen Kai. Naturally, they were very strong, especially when the rebound force was the most terrifying, so Shen Shang had been waiting for him to release his strongest power. Therefore, the Sky Origin Divine Sword that Lan Kunyuan was so proud of was blown to pieces just like that. Seems like I don't have enough knowledge regarding sword blood. Shen Shang shook his head and sighed. If I didn't rely on my divine artifact, I might not have been able to withstand a few blows, but Shui Lan can. It can be seen that Shui Lan's grasp of the sword blood is much deeper than mine. You actually made Shui Lan secretly give you a bit of the sword blood, and you even succeeded in making the sword blood fuse with you. To be honest, our Bai family has done this kind of thing many times, but never succeeded. Bai Ziming was still curious about this matter. He wanted to know how Shen Shang succeeded in the end. Chapter 3255, The Sword Blood Seeker. Shen Zhang's sword blood was indeed obtained from Bai Shuilan, so he did not deny it. He smiled and said, actually, I was only able to fuse with the sword blood because of some strange circumstances. The process of me fusing with the sword blood was also not easy. Bai Ziming was extremely concerned about Shen Shang fusing with the sword blood. He wanted to know how Shen Shang succeeded. In the end, when did Shui Lan give you the sword blood? Since she was able to make you a sword blood, she must give you quite a few of them. Bai Ziming thought this was not strange, because sword blood-s could only awaken and obtain frenzy sword method when they had a lot of sword blood. Of course not, she didn't give me too many sword blood. Now, Shen Shang did not plan to hide this matter from others, but he did not want too many people to know that he brought Bai Ziming to a secret room. Bai Ziming knew that this kind of matter was very important, so he did it very well. The moment he entered this secret room, he set up a few soundproof enchantments. You should also know that when Shui Lan gave the sword blood to me, she gave me a bowl of sword blood back when we were in Heavenly Dan Mountain Villa. Shen Shang said, I am using this bowl of sword blood to make me into the person of sword blood. Bai Ziming was startled. He of course remembered this matter. At that time, he was very curious about how Shen Shang would deal with this bowl of blood. He never expected that it would be used by Shen Shang to fuse with this bowl of blood. Of course, this bowl of blood was refined by me. It was rather difficult for me to refine it, Shen Shang said. At that time, I also had the attitude of giving it a try. I never thought that it would actually succeed in the end. As for whether it would succeed in the future, I'm not sure. It won't be easy. Bai Ziming shook his head. Perhaps this is your lucky chance, because in the history of our Bai family, there were also people from the sword blood that allowed others to fuse with them. It is said that at that time, he used a large vat of sword blood, but in the end, he did not succeed. Although Bai Ziming also wanted to become a sword blood, he felt that it would definitely not be easy. It was recorded in the history books of their Bai family that because they tried it, it caused many geniuses to be destroyed. Some died while some were heavily injured, but many of the people who participated in the trials did not have good results, so after that, the Bai family did not dare to try it again. Shen Shang actually still wanted to give it a try, but he was clear about the risks involved. If there was a sudden situation, only he could deal with it. Brother Bai, why don't I get Shui Lan to give me another bowl of blood, and then use that bowl of blood to refine a pill for you? Perhaps you can succeed, but there will be a certain amount of wind. Shen Shang said. But you don't have to worry, even though there are risks, this kind of situation shouldn't happen. Shen Shang was fairly confident in his pill concocting abilities. Is that really okay? Bai Ziming's heart moved, he really wanted to give it a try. If Bai family had one more sword blood, his strength would definitely increase by leaps and bounds, and even if they met another genius war god that attacked them in the future, they wouldn't sit still and wait for death like today. Try to control yourself. In short, I will do my best to prevent you from getting hurt. Even if you fail, nothing will happen to you. Shen Shang said, let's go, we will go find Shui Lan now. Bai Shuilan was Bai Ziming's younger sister. As they were blood-related, logically speaking, their fusing would be even smoother, which was why Shen Shang had some confidence. Bai Shuilan was still in closed-door training to heal her injuries, but it wasn't a closed-door cultivation. Therefore, when Shen Shang and Bai Ziming came to find her, she was able to immediately come out. When Shen Shang saw Bai Shuilan, he could not help but be shocked. Bai Shuilan's face was as pale as paper. You're hurt so badly, Shen Shang said as he frowned. Big brother Shen, you're here, what's the situation outside? Earlier, when Bai Shuilan was recuperating, he had also sensed some activity outside the Bai mansion. She had been very worried, so when Bai Ziming came earlier, she had hurriedly ran out. For some reason, when she saw Shen Shang coming, she felt extremely at ease. It's fine for now, but your situation isn't good, Shen Shang said. I made big brother Shen worry. Bai Shuilan faintly sighed, and said in a low voice, I'm really useless. Don't say that, you're very strong. Shen Shang laughed. I was almost killed by Lan Kunyuan. Bai Shuilan frowned, her haggard face was filled with worry, but at the same time, it revealed killing intent. She did not expect Lan Kunyuan to actually make a move on her. I will definitely kill this bastard. Bai Shuilan's current performance was extremely cold. Bai Ziming laughed. No need, this fellow has already been killed by Shen Shang. We'll talk inside. Quote. After entering the room, Bai Ziming told Bai Shuilan what had happened. When Bai Shuilan found out that Lan Kunyuan had killed Lan Kunyuan, he was extremely shocked and impressed. Brother Bai, why don't I help Shui Lan heal her injuries first? We can talk about it after she recovers. It will take about a day, Shen Shang said. Bai Ziming nodded. He also planned to let Shen Shang use Time Field, which would allow Bai Shuilan to recover from her injuries in a short period of time. Shen Shang used his triple Time Field, within one day, allowing Bai Shuilan to obtain 75 years of time. Bai Shuilan herself was very willing to do so. A day's time quickly passed by. Shen Shang was using his time field outside, and time passed by very quickly outside. However, it was very slow inside, and this was why the power of time was so strong. Bai Shuilan had long since recovered from her injuries, and she still used the remaining time to cultivate to familiarize herself with the frenzy sword method, so when she came out, it startled Shen Shang. In the future, the number of fierce fighting goddess that return from the myriad Dao will grow more and more. I must become stronger. After Bai Shuilan came out from the time field, her cold and beautiful face was filled with determination. Shen Shang nodded, and said, right, I have something to tell you, it concerns the sword blood. After that, Shen Shang told Bai Shuilan about him possessing a sword blood, but when Bai Shuilan found out, she was not surprised at all. She smiled lightly. Actually, I already knew this a long time ago, Big Brother Shen, you possess a sword blood. I can sense it, but I'm not very sure. I never expected that it was actually true. Shen Shang smiled and said, Shui Lan, now I need another bowl of blood from you. I want to try and see if I can make your brother become a person of sword blood as well. No problem, I'm fully recovered now. You can even take a jar of blood. Bai Shuilan said. Shen Shang took out a bowl and started to bleed. If your brother had also become a sword blood, he would definitely not be as strong as you. Shen Shang said. Like me, my control of the sword blood is far inferior to yours. This is mainly because I have already learned a lot of things before, so it is hard to avoid being not specialized enough when learning frenzy sword method. Your brother is also in the same situation. And you haven't learned anything before. Quote. Bai Shuilan did not understand all this, she just shook her head and said, but no matter what, as long as my brother can become strong, then I will guide him in cultivating the frenzy sword method. Chapter 3256, Third Fierce Fighting God. Bai Shuilan also hoped that Bai Ziming would own a sword blood. At that time, it would be able to add another force to Bai family, so she, Bai Shuilan, wouldn't have too much pressure. In the entire Bai family, only she could go against that kind of genius war god. Bai Shuilan placed a bowl of blood in front of Shen Shang, and after Shen Shang carefully looked at it, she exclaimed, your blood is currently much stronger than the ones before, you've improved really quickly. Isn't the reason why I'm able to progress so fast all because of the Big Brother Shen's time field? This is enough to buy me a lot of time. Bai Shuilan smiled sweetly. Big Brother Shen, you are already very strong yourself, and your pill refining skills are even more brilliant. This is something that many people cannot directly see. If they knew that you have a very strong pill refining skills, they might respect you a little. Towards this kind of matter, Shen Shang shook his head and laughed, because even though he did not look like a great grandmaster on the outside, he was, after all, very young. There was one thing that he did not need to doubt, Shen Zhang's pill refining skills were far stronger than his combat abilities. I'm going to start concocting pills. I should be able to succeed very soon. Shen Shang entering into a secret room was only a test. This kind of test was only an accumulation of experience for him. There were many situations like bloodline inheritance. If he could succeed in this, then when he met this situation again in the future, he would be able to use this method to help others inherit the bloodline inheritance that was hard to come by. This was also a new realm for alchemist. He had previously refined sword blood, and at that time, because he did not have a very good pill furnace, his refining did not go smoothly. Now that he had a Tianchuang furnace that was refined into a Tianchuang furnace, he did not have to worry about it at all. Now, even if I use the collision method, I don't have to worry about it exploding. Shen Shang smiled at Feng Ke. In the future, when we refine pills, we won't need to work so hard. When using the collision method, Shen Shang was most worried about damaging the furnace, so in the moment of impact, he needed to release a very strong force to seal the burst of energy, and also needed to protect the entire furnace from the force of the explosion. He had refined her Tianchuang furnace before, so after using the collision method, he did not need to worry about her furnace getting damaged anymore. I have to use the collision method more often in the future. Feng Ke laughed. Collision method is a very good pill technique. Shen Shang was very much in favor of this idea. Although it was very berserk, it had a very good effect on raising the quality of the medicinal ingredients and energy. Now, Shen Shang will coordinate with the derivation method to use it together. Very quickly, Shen Shang unleashed his collision method, and in the moment of impact, the entire pill furnace only shook for a moment, not a single sound could be heard. It was extremely quiet. The Tianchuang furnace's ability to absorb a large amount of energy was astonishing Shen Shang. If it was in the past, the moment of impact would cause Shen Shang and Feng Ke to panic. The Crystal Emperoress of the myriad Dao divine soil crystals are just not the same. Feng Ke laughed. You forgot to give the Crystal Emperor Bai Shuilan, it can raise her strength. I haven't forgotten, I just feel that she doesn't need the Crystal Emperor anymore. Shen Shang said. In the frenzy sword method, there is a method that the person who taught the sword blood how to use their own life force to go to the condensed Crystal Emperor. The process is extremely complicated, but the process is extremely useful, and can let them gain experience. If Bai Shuilan wants to become a true sword blood, she definitely would not want it. Bai Shuilan did not need this kind of external force like him. Bai Shuilan was a person who focused on training the sword, so she would definitely be able to obtain the Crystal Emperor through the frenzy sword method. Shen Shang used her time field and refined it for a month straight. This time, the reason why he refined for such a long time was to make Bai Ziming a more stable person in the profound sky continent. Shen Shang came out of the secret room and went to look for Bai Ziming. Brother Bai, I've finished refining it. Bai Ziming was currently in his own courtyard with Bai Shuilin. Big brother Shen. When Bai Shuilin saw Shen Shang, she immediately greeted him in a soft voice. Bai Ziming was extremely excited at the moment, and quickly took the small jade box from Shen Shang. Inside, there was a sword blood pill. If this sword blood pill could help a person become a sword blood, then that pill would be extremely valuable. If someone knew that there was such a pill, they would definitely go crazy for it. It had to be known, becoming a fierce fighting god was extremely difficult, and eating pills was not possible. This required a lot of luck in order to fuse with awesome world berserk soul, and sword bloods were those that could be compared to them. Whoever became a sword blood would have the same strength as the fierce fighting god. Right, didn't 3 genius war goddess get rid of the super young divine lord back then? The one in Archaeopterygium is Hong Chenny, the one in Lan family is Lan Kunyuan, what about the other one? Shen Shang asked. The other one is from the Qin family. It's a woman. Bai Shuilin frowned. She is very strong, I heard she is on par with Hong Chenny. Bai Shuilin was extremely concerned about the genius war god of the Qin family, because she was a woman herself. It was rare for her to meet a strong female like her, who was at the same age as her. Shen Shang laughed. No wonder she didn't come here with Lan Kunyuan and Hong Chenny. That's for sure, she went to deal with the super young divine lord only for the Violet Sun Sword. Bai Shuilin said. Qin Shuang believes that the super young divine lord's Violet Sun Sword was stolen. That's why she believed that the super young divine lord did not use the Violet Sun Sword when they were fighting. Shen Shang laughed. Looks like Qin Shuang will find this place soon. Bai Ziming and Bai Shuilin looked at each other and nodded. Bai Ziming said, let's remember this matter from before. At that time, it might not just be the genius war god Qin Shuang. If the people from Myriad Dao knew the Violet Sun Sword was with you, it would probably be very lively. Quote. The Violet Sun Sword was a sword that the Sun ancestor liked a lot, and it was said that the Violet Sun Sword was related to the treasures in the Purple Yang Divine Palace. Shen Shang could not help but laugh bitterly. He had already obtained the treasures inside the Violet Sun Sword, and when he obtained them, he was even seen by the large group of powerful pirate people. He felt that it wouldn't be long before the Thief King knew that he was hiding in the Eternity Archaeopterygium. Are Violet Sun Sword really that attractive? Shen Shang felt that the Violet Sun Sword was not the strongest, at least not as strong as his own Nine Heavens Divine Sword. When Violet Sun Sword were refining, they did not have any Crystal Emperor, but they were refined using a lot of Myriad Dao Divine Soil crystals. The quality was not bad though, and there were even swords made from Crystal Emperor, but only a few had them, and they were extremely secretive. Chapter 3257, Sword Force Tempering Sword. But for most people, using a piece of Myriad Dao Divine Soil crystal to refine a divine artifact was very good, and Shen Shang had a large amount of Myriad Dao Divine Soil crystals, so he could still use the Myriad Dao Divine Soil crystals to refine Crystal Emperor's. Thus, he did not feel that the Violet Sun Sword was very strong, the only thing that could attract him was the treasures within. Of course, Violet Sun Sword are extremely famous. Bai Shuilin said. Oh right, I have never seen a Violet Sun Sword before, can you show it to me, big brother Shen? Of course you can. Shen Shang took out the Violet Sun Sword and passed it to Bai Shuilin. After Bai Shuilin received the sword, she gently stroked the Violet Sun Sword's body that was flowing with a purple luster. She frowned. This sword is very strange, even though it's in my hands, but I feel that this sword is extremely repulsive to me, and I am unable to imbue any aloofness into it. Shen Shang laughed. Do you really think that the sword belongs to the Super Young Divine Lord? Isn't it? Bai Shuilin said. At that time, the Super Young Divine Lord was advertising everywhere that someone stole his Violet Sun Sword. Of course not. Shen Shang snorted, and told Bai Shuilin about how she obtained the Violet Sun Sword. After hearing it, Bai Shuilin suddenly realized, no wonder, so it turns out that this sword only recognizes its master, and you have obtained his approval, so you are able to control it. Quote. Yes. Bai Shuilin returned the Violet Sun Sword back to Shen Shang and said, I estimate that I must have used at least 500 kilograms of Myriad Dao Divine Soil crystals to refine this Violet Sun Sword. Even if I am unable to obtain the approval of this sword and was unable to unleash the sword's power, but to use it in battle, I can still destroy quite a few weapons. If you were to meet someone like you from the sword blood or a genius war god, it would be useless. Shen Shang shook his head and laughed. Previously, when he used the berserk fire sword handle to fight, he could use an ordinary divine sword to destroy the divine sword refined by his opponent's myriad Dao divine soil. That's right, Bai Shuilin laughed. The myriad Dao divine soil crystal you gave me earlier has already been refined by me into a destiny sword. Even though it's just a piece of myriad Dao divine soil crystal, my destiny sword is extremely powerful, if not I would have definitely died at Hong Qianyi's hands. I'll go eat this sword blood pellet first. Bai Ziming was already impatient. He chuckled, I will definitely succeed. Because there was an example of Shen Zhang's success, Bai Ziming felt that it was very likely that he would succeed. After all, he was Bai Shuilin's older brother. After Bai Ziming entered the secret room, Shen Shang and Bai Shuilin were outside discussing about the frenzy sword method. Bai Shuilin had a unique explanation for the frenzy sword method. The most powerful part of the frenzy sword method is not those sword moves, but the sword aura and sword aura released by the Sun Madness Fire. These are all formed from absorbing the Sun Madness Fire's power. Bai Shuilin said, especially sword force, if I can control it well, then my destiny sword will become invincible. I did not cultivate the destiny sword. Shen Shang said, it is possible that I will never cultivate again, I have already missed that opportunity. Destiny sword need to be tempered with sword energy. This will take many years, so you still have a chance. Bai Shuilin laughed, I'll teach you what to do. Take out the Violet Sun Sword. Your Violet Sun Sword is already very strong, so if you temper it with the Raging Flame Sword force, it will definitely become stronger. Quote, I don't want to use Violet Sun Sword. Violet Sun Sword are more special. Shen Shang said as he took out the Nine Heavens Divine Sword. Bai Shuilin looked at the Nine Heavens Divine Sword and only thought that it was not bad. It gave her a strong feeling, but she didn't realize that the Nine Heavens Divine Sword was refined from Crystal Emperor. After that, under Bai Shuilin's guidance, Shen Shang kept the Nine Heavens Divine Sword into his own body, made it become very small, and suspended in his dantian. Then, he started to circulate the Sun Madness Fire, and began to condense the Berserk Flame Sword's power. Try your best to control the Raging Flame Sword's aura and let the sword aura enter your dantian. If your destiny sword is able to absorb it, it will be proof that you have integrated well with it. Bai Shuilin said. Shuilan, can I use the power of the sword to refine to destiny sword? As Shen Shang spoke, he took out the Violet Sun Sword and then controlled it to enter his dantian. Originally, he did not plan to refine the Violet Sun Sword, but he had already developed a very close relationship with it. When he was refining the Nine Heavens Divine Sword just now, he vaguely felt that the Violet Sun Sword was feeling jealous. Before Bai Shuilin could reply, he succeeded. You actually have two destiny sword. Bai Shuilin was the most sensitive to swords. She could feel that the two swords in Shen Zhang's dantian were greedily absorbing the Raging Flame Sword force released by Shen Shang. Isn't that possible? Shen Shang was a little suspicious, because he found it extremely easy to reach this step. Of course not. However, you did it. Bai Shuilin felt that it was unbelievable, at least she could not do it. Looks like the relationship between you and the two swords is very close. Generally, there is no room for two tigers in the same mountain. The two destiny swords will fight, but on your body, they can coexist harmoniously. Hee. Shen Shang laughed. The women around me are also like that, so dealing with these two swords is not really worth it. This was the first time she heard Shen Shang talking about her own family matters. She was rather curious about Shen Zhang's family matters. After all, she was a woman, so they were all very gossipy. Big brother Shen, you are truly a romantic person. Bai Shuilin scoffed. Shen Shang only smiled without saying a word. He really missed the beautiful women in Hundred Flowers Village. There's something wrong with the Violet Sun Sword. Shen Shang suddenly shouted. It's shaking, what's going on? Shen Shang had no choice but to take out the Violet Sun Sword and hold them tightly in his hands. Could it be that he is incompatible with my other sword? Just a moment ago, he was still complacent, but he suddenly felt this Violet Sun Sword was angry. No, my destiny sword is also truthful. Bai Shuilin's expression was solemn as he looked in a direction. Over there, a very powerful divine sword has appeared. Our destiny sword should have sensed the approaching powerful sword force and issued a warning to us. Who could it be? When Shen Shang asked this, Bai Shuilin had already flown to the main entrance of the Bai mansion, and that wave of sword force was coming from that direction. Qin Shuang, it's most likely her. Hong Chenny cannot do anything to Bai Mansion, and only Qin Shuang has such power, and the Qin family is also a family of the sword race. Bai Shuilin opened the door of Bai Mansion, and saw a large group of people flying from afar. Hong Chenny also came. This guy should be here to watch the show. Shen Shang cursed in his heart. There were a lot of people who came this time, and they must have known that Qin Shuang was coming here to collect swords, so they came to join in on the fun. Chapter 3258, Qin Shuang. It was rumored that Qin Shuang's strength was comparable to Hong Qianyi's, and was much stronger than Lan Kunyuan's from before. Amongst the sun god race, the sword race was the strongest as a whole, so none of the genius war god could be underestimated. Knew this, but he was not worried, because he did not even need to go up on stage. Bai Shuilin had already recovered from her injuries, and had even used myriad Dao divine soil crystals to cultivate her destiny sword, so even if she did not have any chance of winning against Qin Shuang, he would not lose. Shen Shang and Qin Shuang arrived at the main entrance of the Bai Mansion, opened the door, and saw that the plaza outside was already filled with people, and in front of this group of people, there was a lady with a ponytail wearing tight white clothes who held a cold unsheathed sword. Her expression was cold, and his entire body was emitting a threatening killing intent, causing people to feel a cold killing intent. The lady was Qin Shuang. She was dressed up like that. Although her demeanor was cold and merciless, she was extremely beautiful. She was not the kind of lady who looked cold and elegant, but was instead the type of woman who was filled with arrogance and killing intent. Seeing Qin Shuang, Shen Zhang's heart jumped. If he could, he was extremely unwilling to fight with this woman, and looked extremely terrifying, especially when her destiny sword was out of its sheath. That sword looked like an ordinary sword, but to be able to be used by Qin Shuang, it must be extraordinary. You are Shen Shang? Qin Shuang asked Shen Shang in an emotionless voice when she saw Shen Shang and Bai Shuilin come out. Yes, what can I do for you? Shen Shang nodded. They were currently inside the enchantment of the Bai Mansion. Shen Shang looked around. There were a lot of people joining in on the fun, but he could tell that some of them were not here to join in the fun, for example, the people from Archaeopterygium. One look was enough to tell that they were attacking the Bai Mansion, and that they were only waiting for the right opportunity. And there was also the Lan family. Lan family was killed by Shen Shang. It was impossible for them not to hate Shen Shang, and Shen Shang was now a guest of Bai Mansion. If they wanted to kill Shen Shang, they had to first take over Bai Mansion. This was not easy, they had to cooperate with Archaeopterygium. And Archaeopterygium's genius war gods could not do anything. Hong Qianyi's strength was extremely terrifying, but because he had signed a blood contract with Shen Shang, he was unable to lay his hands on either Shen Shang or the Bai Mansion for a year, and could only watch from the side. Previously, even if there was Hong Chenny and Lan Kunyuan, they would not be able to take Bai Mansion down so easily. Furthermore, Bai Shuilin had already recovered, and Hong Chenny could not make a move. After Lan Kunyuan was killed, they could only look at Qin Shuang if they wanted to take Bai family down. When Shen Shang saw Qin Shuang, although he was somewhat fearful of this woman, he didn't know why, but he felt an inexplicable sense of relief. It was because he felt that this kind of woman would not be easily manipulated by his clan's power. Perhaps, Qin Shuang had only come here for him, and not the Qin family, Archaeopterygium, and Lan family. I only want Violet Sun Sword. Qin Shuang answered simply. This was exactly as Shen Shang had guessed. Qin Shuang had only come for him. Bai Shuilin had told Shen Shang that the only reason why Qin Shuang had teamed up with Lan Kunyuan and the others to deal with the Super Young Divine Lord was because of the Violet Sun Sword. What, is the sword in your hand bad? Why do you want my Violet Sun Sword? I see that the sword in your hand is also your destiny sword. You should treat him well and take it seriously. You can't have any other thoughts, it's not good for your cultivation. Shen Shang laughed, looking extremely relaxed. When the crowd saw that Shen Shang was actually talking to Qin Shuang with a cheeky smile, they couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat for Shen Shang. They all knew very well what kind of woman Qin Shuang was. Qin Shuang hated people who dilly-dally in front of her the most, and hated people who used this tone to talk to her the most. Are you going to give it to me? Qin Shuang did not have much patience. Her few words revealed endless coldness and killing intent, and her pair of emotionless eyes even caused Shen Zhang's heart to thump loudly. Shen Shang had to admit, Qin Shuang's attainments in the way of the sword was extremely high, and that gaze just now made him feel as if a sword had pierced through her weak point. I worked hard to get the Violet Sun Sword, why should I give it to you? Shen Shang snorted. Like a spoiled child, she turned her head and said, no, if I don't give it to you, I won't give it to you. What can you do to me? After he finished speaking, he even made a face at Qin Shuang with no regards to his life. Although Qin Shuang didn't seem to have any expression on her face, the anger in her heart was like a fiercely erupting volcano. Bai Shuilin didn't know whether to laugh or cry from the side. She was very clear about Qin Shuang's personality. She didn't think that Shen Shang would actually be so funny. The Violet Sun Sword is mine, I can't give it to you. Return to where you came from. Shen Shang snorted. Then what do I need to do before you give me the Violet Sun Sword? Qin Shuang had arrived here very early on, and looked at the Bai Mansion's barrier. If she were to take action by herself, it would take a long time to destroy the barrier, and by then, she would have already expended a lot of energy. When Bai Shuilin and Shen Shang joined hands, she had no chance of winning at all. He didn't know why, but Violet Sun Sword seemed to be extremely important to Qin Shuang. From her attitude, she definitely had to obtain this Violet Sun Sword. Marry me. As my woman, I might lend it to you to play for a few days. Just as Shen Shang finished speaking, the cold sword in his hand suddenly flew out, flying towards Shen Shang. However, the Bai Mansion had a barrier. If she released the Destiny Sword, it would only scare Shen Shang. Shen Shang was truly frightened. He retreated a few steps and his face turned white, although the sword was blocked by the enchantment, but the terrifying sword force that exploded out pierced through the enchantment and struck at his soul. Dad, you scared me to death. Shen Shang patted his chest, and panted heavily. If you scare me to death, you will never think of obtaining a Violet Sun Sword in your life. Many people here had never seen Shen Shang before, but now that they saw that Shen Shang was actually such a reckless person, they couldn't help but admire him in their hearts. He actually dared to tease the evil woman god, Qin Shuang. You want to obtain the Violet Sun Sword, but the Violet Sun Sword was something that I had to spend a lot of effort to obtain. Shen Shang suddenly became serious and said earnestly, at that time, when I tricked the Super Young Divine Lord into leaving, I entered the fire and spent all my effort to fuse this Violet Sun Sword. The Violet Sun Sword had already approved of me, so I cannot give it to you. Chapter 3259, The 10 Sword Pack. Qin Shuang listened as she frowned. Are you saying that the Violet Sun Sword was not in the hands of the Super Young Divine Lord before? Of course, although the Super Young Divine Lord was killed by your combined forces, you should know her strength very well. If the Violet Sun Sword is in his hands, how do you think I should be able to steal it? Shen Shang curled his lips and said, your strength should be on par with the Super Young Divine Lord. Do you think it's possible for me to obtain your Destiny Sword from you? The Violet Sun Sword never belonged to the Super Young Divine Lord. It just came down from the sky and pierced into the ground. The Super Young Divine Lord took over that place, and the Violet Sun Sword did not even approve of him, so he was unable to pull the Violet Sun Sword out. Shen Shang recalled the expression on his face when he first obtained the Violet Sun Sword and sighed. The process of me obtaining the Violet Sun Sword was extremely painful. Even if I give the Violet Sun Sword to you now, this sword would still die, because he doesn't approve of you. Take out the Violet Sun Sword. I will know when I see it. Qin Shuang suddenly started to believe in Shen Zhang's words. Shen Shang took out the Violet Sun Sword. Qin Shuang's cold and emotionless eyes suddenly revealed a strange color, making people feel that the Violet Sun Sword was her life, as if it was everything to them. What's wrong with this woman? Shen Shang sent a sound transmission to Bai Shuilin. Shuilan, did you see it just now? I saw it. She must have something to do with this sword. Bai Shuilin replied. Qin Shuang said, this sword does indeed approve of you, but you can still give this sword to me. I have a way to make him acknowledge me. No, why should I give it to you? Shen Shang snorted. I worked so hard to obtain it, why are you giving it to me just because you said so? An old man from the Qin family suddenly spoke. The Violet Sun Sword is the sword of our sun ancestor. Only the people from our sun god race are qualified to have it, and you are not a member of the sun god race, so you should naturally return it to us. Since your sun god race has the qualifications to obtain it, then why didn't this sword directly land in your house, and was instead obtained by me? Shen Shang sneered. Since I am able to obtain this Violet Sun Sword, it means that I am fated to be able to obtain it. As long as there is fate, so what if I don't have the sun god race's bloodline? Also, even if I have to return it to the sun god race, I will still give it to the person with the sword blood. The old man was furious. He wanted to rush over and slap Shen Zhang's face, but he was only thinking about it. Even Qin Shuang was unable to instantly break the Bai Mansion's enchantment, let alone him. How about this? You fight with me for a round. As long as you win, I won't ask for Violet Sun Sword from you anymore. Qin Shuang said. You were previously willing to fight with Lan Kunyuan, now you don't mind competing with me, right? Of course I do, Shen Shang chuckled. After fighting with such an enchanting beauty, I'm worried that I won't be able to display my true strength, so I can't bear to make a move. I'll definitely lose. Shen Shang rubbed his chin, using an extremely coquettish gaze, with a mischievous smile on his face, he said smilingly. Bai Shuilin rolled her eyes at him. She didn't think that Shen Shang was actually such a person. Lan Kunyuan died unjustly. If he was a beauty, then he wouldn't have to die. Bai Shuilin snorted. When the people of Lan family heard it, their faces turned red and then white. Lan Kunyuan's death was the real pain of the Lan family, and now that Bai Shuilin was using his death to tease them, it made them angry and anxious. However, they could only glare angrily at Bai Shuilin, as they could do nothing at all. Right now, they only hoped that Qin Shuang could obtain the Violet Sun Sword from Shen Shang, so that way, Shen Zhang's strength would be weakened. Qin Shuang took a deep breath, only then could she suppress the anger in her heart, if not she would scare Shen Shang again. Tell me, what must I do before you agree to give me the Violet Sun Sword? Qin Shuang's voice carried a slight roar. It's impossible to fight you because I can't beat you. Shen Shang spread out his hands. And I cannot give you the Violet Sun Sword. This sword is extremely important to me. It is impossible for me to give it to you. This is impossible. Shen Shang looked at Bai Shuilin, and said, Shuilan, I'll leave this place to you. I'm afraid I'll be scared to death if I were to go back and rest. Wait, Qin Shuang suddenly shouted. Shen Shang had just turned around, and when he heard Qin Shuang's shout, he anxiously turned around and said impatiently, What do you want now? Don't think about scaring me again, I'm not afraid of you. Quote. If you compete with me in sword techniques, as long as I am unable to defeat you within 10 swords, it would count as my loss. Qin Shuang said. If I lose, you can do whatever you want. If I defeat you within 10 swords, I will give the Violet Sun Sword to me. From Qin Shuang's expression, it was obvious that she had made a very difficult decision. Shen Shang thought for a bit, because she had room to consider. You come out and fight with me, I, Qin Shuang, swear with my life that I won't do anything to the Bai Mansion. Even if you lose, I promise I won't kill you, and I won't let anyone hurt you, nor will I let anyone harm the Bai Mansion. I only want the Violet Sun Sword. Qin Shuang's current condition could be said to be extremely disadvantageous for her, but she was so firm and confident. At the same time, she could tell that she was willing to sacrifice everything for the Violet Sun Sword, and she could even become the enemy of everyone else present. Especially Archaeopterygium and Lan family, they were still letting Qin Shuang deal with him earlier, but if Shen Shang agreed to it, no matter if he won or lost, Bai family would be able to rest easy. If you don't trust me, you can sign the blood contract. Qin Shuang said again. Seeing that Shen Shang was thinking about it, she secretly rejoiced, because it was possible. How do we determine victory or defeat? Shen Shang asked. I am not that easy to kill. First of all, you can only use the sword. Qin Shuang said. I know you have a powerful defensive divine tool, if you use it, I might not be able to defeat you even after 100 strikes. Shen Shang considered for a moment, then nodded his head. This is not a problem, as long as I can endure 10 of your strikes, I think it will be very easy. Second, you cannot use spatial force to teleport. Because if you keep dodging, it will be very difficult for me to only be able to display my strength in the 10 strikes. Seeing Shen Shang nod his head, Qin Shuang was surprised. She thought Shen Shang would refuse. Shen Shang rubbed his chin, frowning as he considered. There's no problem with this, but I'm a bit worried that you will kill me when the time comes. I will absolutely not kill you. I have the confidence that I can only defeat you with 10 strikes. Qin Shuang said. Violet Sun Sword are very important to me, I will definitely keep my promise, furthermore, we will sign the blood contract so you don't have to worry about this. Then how can I be considered to have lost? Shen Shang laughed. If you don't kill me, I won't admit defeat. When the time comes, we will all use swords. As long as I knock the sword out of your hand, you will be considered to have lost. If I am unable to do it within 10 swords, then I will lose. On the other hand, if you are able to counterattack within 10 strikes of my sword and take down my sword, then you can be considered to have lost. Qin Shuang said. The rule she formulated made everyone feel that it was more acceptable. Chapter 3260, Beauty, Don't Be Agitated. Shen Shang looked at Bai Shuilin. Bai Shuilin had a better understanding of Qin Shuang, and Bai Shuilin also had a certain understanding of his strength, so she hoped that Bai Shuilin could give him some advice. If you win, what are you going to do with her? Bai Shuilin stared at Shen Shang and sent a sound transmission to him. I haven't thought about it yet. Shen Shang laughed. But I have a good chance of winning against you, if I win, hee hee. Alright, then you can try. At most, you will only lose Violet Sun Sword S. You still have a powerful sword in your hand, right? Bai Shuilin was talking about Nine Heavens Divine Sword. From what she knew, Shen Zhang's Nine Heavens Divine Sword was definitely not weaker than Violet Sun Sword. Shen Shang said to Qin Shuang, alright, I agree. We will compete as agreed. Shen Shang agreed, and a flurry of discussion erupted because from the rules just now, it seemed like Qin Shuang had a higher chance of winning. She was extremely strong, just like Hong Chenny, and hitting the sword out of Shen Zhang's hands within 10 swords was not a very difficult thing. If it were me, I would be able to do it with 5 moves. Hong Chenny snorted in a low voice. He doesn't need to use the power of space to teleport, nor does he use that damned mirror. This isn't difficult at all. Perhaps he hated himself for not being a woman, or else he would have been able to take advantage of her. He thought that Shen Shang agreeing to Qin Shuang was because Qin Shuang was a very beautiful woman, even though she looked cold and indifferent. Many people thought so too. When Shen Shang appeared before, he continuously used frivolous words to provoke Qin Shuang, and no matter how one looked at it, he looked like a pervert. Everyone thought that Shen Shang must have wanted to win, and then, he must have done something shameful to Qin Shuang. Shen Shang looked at the crowds questioning and snorted, saying in a low voice, this group of people truly think only of a petty person. Bai Shuilin chuckled, it's your fault that you don't look like a good person. Of course, Qin Shuang heard the discussions of the crowd, but after her cold eyes swept over them, the people did not dare make a sound, especially the few that did not care about their lives. They actually said that she sold out her perverted looks to trick Shen Shang into competing with her sword, which made her the most furious. When those people saw her, their souls almost flew out of their bodies. Their bodies went limp on the ground and they wouldn't be able to recover for a few days. Alright, let's sign the contract now. Shen Shang said to Qin Shuang. Everyone felt that Qin Shuang's victory was already in their grasp, but they did not know that Shen Shang was the same. Shen Shang possessed the sword blood and grasped the frenzy sword method. Many people knew of this matter. However, Hong Chenny had seen Shen Zhang's berserk fire sword force before. He felt that he was far inferior to Qin Shuang, so his analysis was acknowledged by everyone. Shen Zhang's sword blood isn't the purest type, so he doesn't control the frenzy sword method and the sword blood well, and is unable to unleash their true strength. Hong Chenny said, only that fellow Lan Kunyuan was careless. If I had fought with Shen Shang before, he would not have been able to stand here. Hong Qianyi's voice was filled with arrogance, as though defeating Shen Shang was an extremely easy task. Shen Shang ignored him, and focused on signing the blood contract with Qin Shuang. After signing the contract, Shen Shang walked out of the Bai mansion and went outside. The outside of Bai mansion had long turned into a wasteland filled with wounds. Furthermore, it was sinking very deep, the cracked ground could be seen everywhere, all because of the intense battles that had taken place before. Shen Shang took out his Nine Heavens Divine Sword S, shocking Qin Shuang. Don't you use Violet Sun Sword S? Qin Shuang was very surprised, she could not understand. Although she could tell that the Nine Heavens Divine Sword was also very strong, but she felt that it was inferior to the Violet Sun Sword. Violet Sun Sword S were considered to be very strong by the people here. They felt that only the Sun Ancestor had a godly sword that was stronger than the Violet Sun Sword. Shen Zhang's Nine Heavens Divine Sword only looked pale golden on the outside, and did not have the threatening fire potential that Violet Sun Sword had. Therefore, it did not look that powerful, but it still released a trace of the faint aura of myriad Dao Divine Soil crystals. In reality, that was the Crystal Emperor's Qi, but Chen Kai's refining methods were very brilliant, and did not expose the powerful Crystal Emperor's Qi. This is probably refined using myriad Dao Divine Soil crystals. Qin Shuang carefully observed the Nine Heavens Divine Sword in Shen Zhang's hands. It's full of raw materials, and also a pretty good divine sword. You already have such a good divine sword in your hands, and you actually said that I had different intentions. Quote. That's because I'm a person who doesn't care. Shen Shang laughed. For example, I already have a wife, but if you want to be my wife, I will definitely not mind. You, don't be too presumptuous. Qin Shuang really wanted to cut off Shen Zhang's head. I'm just making a metaphor. I already had this sword in my hands from the start. Later on, due to fate, the Violet Sun sword followed me. Shenshang laughed out loud. Even if we can't stop them, we can. Use the Violet Sun sword to compete with me. I want to see how well the Violet Sun sword will be used in your hands. Qin Shuang said. You have sword blood, so you should also learn Frenzy sword method, and during the competition, I will give you a few pointers, but you have to admit that you are not my opponent, and I won't hurt you, so if I get the Violet Sun sword, I will still be very grateful to you, and if you do not mind, I can even accept you as my disciple. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't want to. In the future, if you have any difficulties in the way of the sword, you can also go to the Qin family and seek my advice. I will definitely help you out. Qin Shuang spoke very straightforwardly. The conditions were extremely touching. Everyone suddenly felt that if they were Shenshang, they would definitely give the Violet Sun sword to Qin Shuang without hesitation and acknowledge him as their master. How can we do that? If I acknowledge you as my master, you won't be my wife. After Shenshang said this, he anxiously said, no, if you were to become my master, then wouldn't we be able to have a passionate master-disciple relationship? The moment he finished speaking, he felt an extremely cold and mournful air current wrap around his neck. The sharp long sword in Qin Shuang's hand had already pierced through his neck. If not for the blood pact controlling Qin Shuang, he would have died 10 times already. I'm serious, Qin Shuang said in a low voice. Bai Shuilin could not help but shake her head. The master's image in her heart of Shenshang had already disappeared. Beauty, don't be agitated, I am serious as well. No, I was just joking. Can we start the competition now? Shenshang carefully moved his feet, keeping his neck far from the sword that was brimming with killing intent. It's fine if you don't use Violet Sun sword, but I want to see what abilities you have to beat me. Qin Shuang did not expect that at such a critical juncture, Shenshang would still be teasing her, which made her hate Shenshang more and more.